off on this Sunday edition of America's Day at the Races here on FS1. It's brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net. Today, welcome to those who've been watching Colgate St. John's. Good to have you with us here at South Ozone Park, and action from Hot Springs as well. Greg Wolf alongside champion jockey Richard Migliore. This feature, we were just talking about it before we came on air, the 8th today at Aqueduct. Very competitive first allowance condition. Chad Brown has Winter Pool, who probably will go off his favorite, but he also has a very improving and talented Core Conviction, whose dirt debut and maiden win was very impressive.
Yeah, he holds a very strong hand in today's feature, but I also think that it's a contentious race. A couple of interesting players. A horse named Carruthers took all the money North American debut. That was on turf. Racing on dirt, but all his works have been on dirt. But you've got to give a long, hard look at Winter Pool, who was second to Ducal. Ducal came back, was second at Churchill Downs to Cody's Wish, who's been in very good form.
Yeah, for Bill Mott. Here's a look at Winter Pool. This was back on August 25th at Saratoga when he beat Auburn Hills, who's going to be in today's race as well, who's always dangerous on the front end.
Now, this is a horse that's kind of a relentless way of going, Winter Pool. He's a horse that I like to refer to as a bicycle horse. If you're not pedaling, he's not running. And he certainly gets a strong rider, and Manny Franco had a very strong rider this day in Ricardo Santana Jr.
You'll see a lot of that dirt again kicked on the face of Manny Franco in Winter Pool. That's his running style, coming from off the pace. He'll be post 9 in here. He always shows up. And we mentioned the tough company he has kept. Ducal, he's also faced Run and Ray. He missed 2 by a neck, 3 starts back. But Core Conviction for Chad Brown on the inside. They actually debuted on the turf in January. Didn't come back to November. Dominated a maiden field, although the figure didn't come back that fast. He obviously, from this barn, could take a big step forward today.
Well, absolutely, and that was a step forward from his first start. The question for me is a horse that, started on the turf. Because, for connections that are very good at figuring out what their horses like to do, it almost feels like they were a little bit lost with him. Now he came back on the dirt. He was good. This is a pretty salty A of the than, though, he's landed in.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. That is the 8th today here at Aqueduct. Let's take a look at today's action presented by Claiborne Farm. About 8 minutes away from the 5th here in New York. And that's the start of the late pick 5 coming up. We started the day actually good on the main track. We're now fast. It's been a drying out racetrack today with beautiful weather here in New York. Oaklawn as well at Hot Springs. They are fast on the main track. Races 3 through 9 all to come, including checking in with Hall of Famer Gary Stevens. We'll have Jonathan Kinchin on the program as well, not to mention Maggie Wolfendale. You can play all the action by getting signed up and started with Naira Bets. $200 deposit match. Sign up bonus with that promo code right there, bonus 200. At NairaBets.com or by downloading that Naira Bets app at Bet Any Track Anywhere, anytime. Get signed up and started. So late pick 5 sequence begins in the 5th here in New York. It's 6 furlongs. It's New York breds in a $25,000 maiden claiming race. And Captivating Kara right now, the 5. This 3-year-old filly favored, who has hit the board each of the last 4 starts, but she is 0 for 18 coming in.
Too many tries for me. You know how I feel about that.
Let's see how they look down in the paddock. Let's head downstairs and check in for the first time today with Maggie Wolfendale. Hi, Maggie.
Hey, Greg, and maybe it is the day for Captivating Kara. She looks good, but then again, she always does. And really, her stiffest competition does come in the form of a horse who has run primarily on turf thus far. Only 2 starts to date, but that is number 2, Professional Woman. That's her damn name. Phenomenal Woman. As she does have more dirt pedigree. She is a daughter of Mucho Macho Man. The entire family has been more productive, I'd say, on the main track, and she looks as though she should easily handle the main track. But why is Christoph, knowing that, kept her on the turf, and now she drops down? So she does look incredibly fit here. She's second off the bench, probably even more defined and tucked up. But with that being said, I wish she looked a bit stronger across the top line. It's much more easier for horses that might be a little bit weak in their constitution to handle the turf rather than on the dirt. dirt. So we'll see what she does here as we'll move on to a first-time starter from Fausto Gutierrez. That's number 4, Cinnamon Dream, a daughter of Laubam. The dam won as a 2-year-old, was stakes placed as a 2-year-old, and she's a half to Raven Rocks, who won here the other day. A good, a productive dirt sprinter. Looking at this gal, she does show up wearing the front wraps first time here. She does look incredibly fit. There's not much to her. She's not the most robust, the biggest, most powerful one. So with that being said, I feel as though a start would do her good in the sense that she just feels as though she needs to strengthen and put on some conditioning. Moving on to a runner on the outside, I think is a bit interesting. Number 11, Starship Rogue, gets back to the main track, and I think she was entered as an MTO first time out, I feel like, and then they tried her on the turf, and she really hasn't done much running, but those are in much tougher spots. So she is now third start of her career, a bit more fit. She is a very heavy, robust filly. Watch how she behaves at the gate. She did act up pretty badly when they got to the stalls in that turf sprint back here on November 28th, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Our post parade here coming up as they make their way onto the track. It remains this 0 for 18 3-year-old filly, Captivating Kara, who's the one to beat on the board. Escapology kicks things off. She's had 5 starts. She's yet to hit the board.
Yeah, and she would just have to improve. She gets a tough rail draw for a filly that doesn't have a tremendous amount of speed.
Maggie talked about the pedigree of the 2, who's only been on turf so far. Her Grand Dam actually won the Garland of Roses and was a multiple stakes winner, but we skipped to the 4, the first-timer.
Yeah, first-timer. Mare's had 3 starters, all winners, and Mare herself was stakes placed.
Here's the favorite, 9-5 on this daughter of Micromanage.
It's just hard to take 9-5 for me for a horse that's 0 for 18, although she has numbers that are good enough.
Kendra Carmouche on Path Less Taken.
Yeah, getting onto the dirt for the first time for Tom Morley, who's had a terrific year.
Big price on Emerald Banker.
Yeah, big price, and rightfully so.
Banana Fana Foe showed some life at Finger Lakes going longer against Maiden Special.
Yeah, long speed, does that translate to dirt, short speed, sprint speed? That's a question for me.
It has not shown that ability in a couple of tries on the New York circuit sprinting. The 10, Ethel's Doctorate for Bruce Grossman.
Yeah, another one, she just doesn't really seem to have a race that would make her good enough, and she's been running all on turf. Her one dirt race in the mud wasn't very good.
Starship Rogue, first start meant for grass, but it came off and ran on the slop against Better, arguably, because it was meant for the turf, but did beat 4 horses home.
Yeah, didn't take much money in either one of her starts, but Steve Caceres, certainly a very capable trainer.
You can follow along on today's action, get all the stats on the horses, trainers, and jockeys with free Equibase past performances. Go to NYRA.com/TV schedule and download your free PPs on all the action on today's show. Late pick 5, it's our favorite wager. It begins here. It's 2 minutes away. How do we construct a ticket? Let's check in with our moneymaker, Jonathan Kinchin. Hi, JK.
Hi, Wolfie. I always like it when you say hi to me. It makes me feel warm and loved. I don't understand this favorite either, the 5, Captivating Kara. I'm going to go with the 6, Path Less Taken. Now, I have a theory, and hopefully someone can help us with this theory. When I see a horse that debuts for 40, you start to wonder how much talent do they actually have. But then I like when they run a good race and the connections and the trainer decide, whoa, we're not offering up this horse for sale anymore. We want to run this horse in a protected race, and that's exactly what Tom Morley did with Path Less Taken, or at least that's what I think, and hopefully someone who knows him well can confirm that. But I feel like they felt like this horse kind of woke up, showed some talent 2 starts back, didn't run so well last time against tougher maiden special weight on the turf, now getting the first opportunity to run on the dirt in a race where I don't really love anything. Give me the horse where at least someone thinks that she's good.
9-2, Mig. Well, did you get a look at her? I thought made a decent appearance.
Yeah, made a nice appearance on the track, but it's kind of typical of Tom Morley's horses. All year they've looked good on the racetrack, they've run well, but looking at it from a pedigree perspective, the mother was a turf sprinter, a very good turf sprinter too. Not nearly as proficient on dirt. She did win on synthetic. So, I mean, these are the clues. These are the things we're looking at. This is the only foal to race, and from a pedigree perspective, I think we're talking, at least on the female side, more turf.
If only we knew someone who had the inside track with this barn. Let's go to Maggie for more.
Who would that be, Greg? No, I'm just kidding. So the fact that we saw Path Less Taken in that maiden special weight last time, there really weren't many turf races left, and we just wanted to give her another shot on the turf. So this seems to be the day where, now we're 4 days into the winter meet and turf racing's done, that everybody's just trying to see if they can have especially a New York bred, stick around for the winter. That's what's going on here. And I'm assuming probably what's going on with Christophe Clement's horse too. Not that he keeps horses necessarily here in the winter, but Pathless Taken, she is a horse that, as Meg brought up, has much more turf pedigree on the bottom, but she is by Bellamy Road. She's not overly turf, but the one thing I'll say about her is she does have incredibly slack pasterns, very angular pasterns, and a lot of times it's easier for a horse like that to run on the turf. And so therefore, with those very slack pasterns, she does show up wearing the front wraps, just because, with the slack pasterns, they will get those abrasions on the dirt on their fetlocks. So I can't necessarily recommend her. I don't, there's a reason she's been running on the turf all season, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Meanwhile, down to 7-2 right now. Third choice on the board as you look at our analyst selections. Mig, you've gone with a 2. I talked about the Grand Dam won the Garland of Roses. This dam actually broke her maiden when they had the inner dirt here at Aqueduct. Yep. 5 of her foals, they've all won on dirt. One of them was a 3-time winner. So there is some pedigree to handle the surface.
Well, I think there's certainly enough dirt pedigree. The fact that she's dropping for the 25, lowest level of her career. And I'm always the guy looking for connections. Well, I actually won on the Grand Dam Pentelis on that inner track that you spoke about many, many years ago.
Wasn't that long ago, Mig. 5-2 on the daughter of Mucho Macho Manchel. She'll break from post 2. This probably the first time start of the 4, really taking no money at all. Despite that dam being stakes placed, as Maggie mentioned, and as well produced Raven Rocks, as Maggie said, won on Thursday, her second win of her career.
I thought she was very interesting from a pedigree standpoint. Fausto Gutierrez has done a great job all year, winning at 24%. Gets Manny Franco with the pedigree that says dirt should be okay, but it's not a great sign that she's ice cold on the board.
Meanwhile, that 11 is taking a little bit of money, even though it was a race that was meant for grass and was taken off. So I think maybe take that state-bred maiden special tougher group with a grain of salt. I don't know how much tougher it was, but could move forward. We will find out here in start number 3 from that outside post.
Well, and listen, she had a right to improve off of that. It wasn't the slap. She didn't break particularly well. She was drawn wide that day, too, though, 12 of 12 that day.
9-5. Heavy favorite to kick off this late pick 5 sequence with Captivating Kara trying to break through here, and there she is. Career start number 19. She's hit the board each of her last 4 starts, owns 3 seconds, 3 thirds in those 18 tries, but this may finally be a field that is to her liking. Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial to get us started in the pick 5.
And they're off. A slow beginning for number 4, Cinnamon Dream. From the inside, Phenomenal Woman goes out for the lead. Captivating Kara running in second, right alongside of A Path Less Taken. And on the extreme outside is Ethel's Doctorate, moving up from 4th. Down at the rail is Escapology, next in 5th. As they race up the backstretch, and the leader here is a Phenomenal Woman by a head. Captivating Kara on the outside in second. Escapology up to 3rd. Ethel's Doctorate is 4th. Pathless Taken now back in 5th. Cinnamon Dream, after the slow start, has advanced into 6th. Banana Fanafo is in 7th. Starship Rogue is 8th. And the trailer is Emerald Banker in 9th. The quarter went in 22 and 4. Phenomenal Woman on the inside and Captivating Kara on the outside. And the two of them are heads apart as they come off the turn and enter the stretch. The half up in 47 seconds. It is Captivating Kara on the outside now to grab the lead from Phenomenal Woman. Escapology is moving up with less than 1/8 of a mile to the finish. Captivating Kara in front. Escapology moves into second. Down on the inside is Phenomenal Woman. They're coming for the finish, and it is Captivating Kara and Javier Castellano. Escapology was second. Then Phenomenal Woman, and farther back, Banana Fanafo was 4th.
patience paying off. 19th time the charm for this daughter of micromanage who wins at a short price.
Well, once she was in perfect position, attending the pace, making her 14th start of 2021. So you know she's sound, you know she's durable. Mitch Friedman having a very good run right now. I think his third win of this young meeting from about 4 or 5 starters. So Mitch having a really good time of it. And Captivating Kara gets it done. Now, with the 1 win, 4 seconds, 4 thirds, over $70,000 in earnings. So she is a check getter, and she found the right group, right?
Yeah, no question. 5-1, 2-8. You got a 30-to-1 shot underneath as well to help your exacta, certainly, in all those exotics. But Escapology, big surprise. It never hit the board in 5 prior starts. This one filly going to get up for second here.
Yeah, ran well, sat the pocket trip under Benji Hernandez, raced on her wrong lead through the stretch, but finished well and showed some life for the Jimmy Bond barn at a big price.
Javier Castellano, Mitchell Friedman, and Richard Greeley winning connections of Captivating Kara. Favorite starts off the late pick 5. We'll have the prices. Get to the pick 4 when we come back, and we'll transition to Hot Springs, Arkansas, and set the stage for race 3. When we return, check in with Gary Stevens a little bit later in the program as well. Stick with us. A lot more coming up here on America's Day at the Races.
Catholic Boy, one of only 3 American 3-year-old colts in history to win Grade 1s on both dirt and turf, including the Immortal Secretariat. A 6-time graded stakes winner from ages 2 to 4, he was the fastest 3-year-old of his crop over 10 furlongs. Now his progeny are bringing top dollar in the sales ring. Dual surface Grade 1 winner Catholic Boy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on America's Day at the Races. Good to have you with us. Program brought to you in part by Now Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Brooklyn Bridge Park right there.
You're Brooklynite now, so.
It's my home park. Captivating Kara finally breaking through. Career start number 19 here for Mitchell Friedman. As you mentioned, that barn having a nice meet.
Yeah, Mitch always a guy who can get horses to perform to their best. Just need the stock and proves it again here. Captivating Kara, perseverance pays off. 19th time, you said, the charm. But she was always in position. Once she was right on top of Phenomenal Woman, who was the most likely upsetter, I think, as second choice in the race. And she couldn't shake free from her. Captivating Kara just kept on to the task, and a big price underneath with Escapology.
Extremely low probability she got claimed in here, I would think.
really highly doubt it.
So we'll see if Mitchell Friedman, if she did stay with him, we'll try and clarify. Maybe you can get another win out of her. Coming finally, that light bulb coming on for her over at Hot Springs, Arkansas, race 3. It is a 10,000 starter allowance, 2-turn mile and a 16th here coming up. Exulting, coming off an impressive win last time out, but Bryce on the outside looks like he is going to be awfully tough. He had a 5-race win streak that was only halted going up against former Travers winner Code of Honor. Here is Gopher Sherry to kick off the post parade, coming in off a win at Hawthorne.
Yeah, horse that runs his best when he shows speed, has the inside post, and should flaunt some of that speed with a 5-pound apprentice support.
13-time winner. Here's Gagoots, Jimmy DeVito.
Yeah, horse that hopes they go a little bit quicker on the front end, more of a deep closing type.
2 wins in a row, but both in races that were taken off the turf. Here's Exulting, 84 buyer in that impressive win.
And a horse that sets up his own trip, gets a Ricardo Santana.
Hardly a Secret, 7-2. The team of Robertino Diodoro, David Cohen, they win a lot here in Hot Springs.
Yeah, first time for Robertino Diodoro. Always an angle you have to look twice at.
Another 13-time winner there. It's won over 370,000. Hooked a good win. Comes in off a win at softer circuit at Thistledown, but earned a big number.
Earned a big number, and a horse that has definitely a big say in how this race is run, because this is the other potential speed in here.
And Bryce, no question, the one to beat in here. 5 consecutive victories before running 4th against Code of Honor in that grade 3 at Monmouth last start.
Now, so people might see that he was, ran well in the Phil Island grade 3 at Monmouth over the summer, and here he is in the start allowance. Well, he's eligible because he ran for a claiming tag low enough to make him eligible for this in the past.
4 minutes to post in this third from Oaklawn. Let's check in with our Hall of Famer, Gary Stevens, live from Hot Springs.
Thanks, Greg. Beautiful day in Hot Springs today. A little chilly this morning at 27 degrees. It's heated up to 50 right now. Just gorgeous. No wind, anything like that. Let's talk about Bryce a little bit here. If I'm one of the other jockeys in here, like, how do I beat this horse? Maybe he won't like this surface. Well, that's not to be. It doesn't appear to. He's got a black letter worked in 46 and 4 over this track here on November 2nd. So I would say that this horse is handling the surface just fine, but hey, anything can happen in a horse race, and if there's it's obvious the horse to beat is probably the 3-horse Exulting. His speed figures are the only one. You've got to go back a long ways to compare with Bryce's speed figures, but I'm looking at a horse, a long shot in here a little bit. Gagoots, a horse for Jimmy DeVito that's put back-to-back wins together, although it was at Hawthorne, but they were impressive wins, and maybe Jimmy DeVito has figured something out about him. Gopher Sherry, the 1-horse, another one that's, if you throw out the race 2 back where he stumbled at the start and lost Joe Talamo at the start of that race at Churchill, he's had 2 wins in a row, and he's a fighter. He doesn't win by a long ways, but he's won 13 of his 42 career starts, so he's an old pro. But look, all the money's coming in on your 6-horse Bryce right now. And the 4 is come down to 7-2 as well. Hardly a Secret coming off of a 3rd-place finish. And first time off the claim for Robertino Diodoro. But he's going to have to run one of his fastest races of his career to be able to win today. So competitive 6-horse field here, guys.
Gary, thanks. Hardly a Secret certainly won the beauty pageant. He made a great appearance. But this horse here, Bryce, that 5-race win streak, for the most part, just about every single race, as he kept winning and winning, the numbers were getting better and better, the figures as well. This was the 5th of that 5-race win streak when he won by 7+ lengths, going a mile and 16th at Monmouth.
Listen, very impressive. Monmouth, usually a speed-favoring racetrack. He got out in front. He was able to keep going. I see a lot of pace signed on in here. I think there's going to be more than legitimate pace here. And not that this horse absolutely needs the lead, but he does seem to me to prefer when he's on the lead. Very impressive here. I got to be honest with you, looking at the 4-horse, Hardly a Secret here, he really won me over. And, it's interesting. This horse was claimed away from Robertino Diodoro for $7,500 last February at Oaklawn, where he ran the best race of his life that day. Robertino Diodoro went back in for this horse for $30,000 last time. That's a big vote of confidence. So obviously he feels like he knows this horse, has his whole card, and the way he looked on the racetrack, that's where I'm going to try to beat the favorite with the 4 Hardly a Secret.
Great appearance. Maybe he's not good enough to win against a horse like Bryce, but looks like the way he's carrying himself, he's going to run his race today. If that race is good enough, we'll find out.
Well, listen, I know it was only for 7,500, but if he runs that race where you got a 91 buyer speed figure, don't you think he's got to be very tough? He was coming in for a long layoff that day. Now, Robertino Diodoro reaches back in for him. Maybe he just feels like he has his horse's whole card. He knows something about him, or that he knows something the horse responds to.
Well, and he would benefit greatly from a couple others putting some pressure on Bryce early in this race.
Well, Go for Sherry's fast and has the rail. That simplifies things for me. I got to go forward. Exalting lays close. Hooked a Goodwin. Another one that can show speed. Bryce could be a part of that pace as well.
Hooked a Goodwin showing sprint speed.
So, you know, again, he's coming out of Thistledowns. One thing we were talking about over the last few days, young Oaklawn Park meeting, trying to decipher how form from other places will kind of translate to Oaklawn Park. I do not think the 5 Hooked a Goodwin is a win contender here, but he's fast enough to have a say in how this race could be run.
He's 31-1 on the board. We'll see if he can harass Bryce on the front end. The good news for Bryce is that he is drawn outside in here, which gives you options.
Well, especially the speed inside of you. You go to the first turn, you kind of let it sort its way out. Never leave the gate with a preconceived notion, though, because everything can change when those gates open. Horse can stumble, get left. Anything can happen. Don't go in thinking, well, I'm going to be laying third, because everything can change in an instant.
He won 5 in a row before they tried him in Grade 3 company. Can Bryce start a new win streak right here? He'll break from post 6 to the outside. Let's go to Vic Stauffer for the call.
They're at the post. They're off. Slow start for Exalting. Go for Sherry and Bryce show speed. Hooked a Goodwin and a Gagoots. Now Exalting recovers and moves up on the outside, and the early trailer is Hardly a Secret. Go for Sherry and Bryce at the clubhouse turn. Go for Sherry a half length in front. Bryce is smartly alongside in second from Hooked a Goodwin, third and 2 from the front. Exalting after that slow start is mid-pack now. He's in the pink and about 3 off the lead. Then Hardly a Secret and Gagoots at the back of the pack. 6 lengths first to last, and Go for Sherry is confronted and passed by Bryce. We have a new leader up the backstretch. It is Bryce. Go for Sherry counter punches and comes right back, and now these two with their stride synchronized up the backside. Then comes Hooked a Goodwin. He's gotten a perfect trip, 2 off the lead. Another 2 back to Exalting, and at the back of the pack are Gagoots and Hardly a Secret. Go for Sherry and Bryce even going into the far turn. Bryce is outside. Go for Sherry is inside, and they are matching strides. Then comes Hooked a Goodwin. Exalting is closer now in 4th. Could get into 3rd soon. 2.5 back to Hardly a Secret and to Gagoots. Bryce is the leader to the quarter pole. He's now a half length in front of Go for Sherry. Exalting has every chance. He's 2 from the front. Then comes Hooked a Goodwin. Hardly a Secret, 5 lengths to make up. Bryce the one to beat. It is Bryce to the final furlong with a 1.5 length lead on Go for Sherry in second. Then Exalting and Hardly a Secret. Between horses, Gagoots. And here's Gagoots moving nicely. 3rd now, may get into 2nd, but Bryce is clear as 16th out. And Bryce has a 2-length lead. Go for Sherry and Gagoots will battle for 2nd. It is Bryce in front. Bryce won by a 1 3/4 lengths. I think Gagoots just beat Go for Sherry out of 2nd.
Bryce getting right back into the winner's circle now. 6 wins in the last 7 starts.
And he was always sitting the trip just outside the leader. Go for Sherry was under a pull by David Cabrera. Turned him loose, turned him for home, opened up, and just was the best horse, trying to make, you know, reasons for how he could lose. Well, he just was just too good for this group. Very close for 2nd here. Gagoots rallying. The 1 horse Go for Sherry did all the dirty work on the front end. It's a head bob either way for 2nd.
Gagoots kind of been more of a turf horse in his career, but he'd won a couple of races that were taken off the turf. So they put him in a race meant for dirt, and responds with a good effort here. But it's all about Bryce. David Cabrera, Jerry Hollendorfer, and the 4-year-old son of Flatter, the win. We're going to get back to New York when we return. Speed stretching out with striking speed. Kendrick Carmouche will be aboard. We'll talk the 6 at Aqueduct next.
always been keen on the sons of Tappet. You know, we've done well with him. You know, he's broken out quite well. He's a beautiful mover, potentially a really nice two-turn horse going forward. We're really kind of very fond of him.
We bought the Tappert filly out of the Blue Eyes in the Rain filly at the Keeneland sale. What we really liked about her was obviously her physique. We liked the way she moved, and we just fell in love with her from the start, really.
Tappert, standing at Gainesway.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Good Magic's in front. Good Magic pulls away from Sobomini. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Good Magic to the front of the field in the Toyota Bluegrass to win it.
The champ is back. Good Magic in a good-looking performance.
800,000, 75, 875, 8.5. Pete, 775,000. Thank you.
Blood Horse Plus, available through bloodhorse.com, provides exclusive, timely, and unmatched content to subscribers, including Fox Sports, Blood Horse branded weekly programs, a detailed stakes winners section, behind-the-scenes videos from Blood Horse staff, on-demand access to deeper horse statistics, and a $5 monthly credit to equineline.com. Upgrade to Blood Horse Plus today.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS1. Good to have you with us. Program brought to you in part by the one-of-a-kind champion sprinter Run Happy. Never lost in his career while sprinting. Did it all while racing medication-free. Sixth race kicks off the late pick 4. It's a claiming race for horses who have not won 3 in their career, going a one-turn mile, and a big scratch in this race. The 9-horse El Samoro would have been your favorite. That horse comes out, so now it is wide open with more. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
Going to take a look at a horse first off the claim. Number 2 in here, Lakoya Road, who was disappointing in his last effort, but did throw his head up and get away very slowly in that race, just compromising any chance that he eventually had. And Natalia Lynch does pick him up, and Tally's horses do tend to physically look good, but I like what I'm seeing from Lakoya Road, especially sometimes, as I always say, it's all relative. So, you know, horses may always look good, but then suddenly they end up in a field where they just look that much better, and that's kind of the vibe I'm getting here with Lakoya Road. Now, he did look as though he wanted to lean out a little bit. I don't have extensive notes on the former equipment he wore, but he is wearing a ring bit today, just a bit to give a little bit more leverage to Jalan Samuel. So I think this was just a little bit interesting because I feel as though you can forgive him, possibly put a line, as they say, through his last effort due to the start. Moving on to number 6, that is Striking Speed. He has not found the form that he formerly had in 2020 for Rob Atras, a horse that typically has been really vibrant, is very quiet today. Though I will say that I do like stretching back out in distance. He's not, at least physically, of a sprinter's frame. He's very tall, long, and stretchy, much like his sire in Brilliant Speed, but is still yet another class drop going to help this horse? I don't know, because, Greg, it's very hard to trust him on his last 3 efforts here in 2021.
Maggie, it certainly is. I mean, this horse was running big numbers, including he touched 90 on the Buyer's scale when we last saw him December. He went to the bench for 7 months. He has not been close, this horse, the 6 Striking Speed, to when we saw him before he went to the bench.
No, and as quickly as he's been throwing in the towel lately, and running, you know, less than half a mile or about a half a mile and then tossing it in, starts to make you wonder about how much air he's getting, how his breathing is. For a horse to, you know, that had been so good to be so bad the last few races, I can't trust him as your favorite.
We'll see if getting back going a little bit longer benefits him in here. He certainly should be forward in this race as we take a look at a big long shot in here. The 7, son of Shanghai Bobby. He'll put blinkers on. The 11's taking some money outside, too. With the 9 gone, it seemed like Beachfront from that outside post was certainly going to take some attention, even though he was coming in from Finger Lakes. But it seems like he woke up a little bit the last few starts.
Yeah, his last few races have been good. He was good around one turn at Belmont in the summertime. Jeffrey Englehart can be based out of Finger Lakes.
Here's Forever Wicked, Heeman Harkey from the inside.
It just would be a big surprise. His last 4 or 5 races leave a lot to be desired.
2, another one who'd been in good form, and that last start, very troubling.
Yeah, but if he can get back to, race 2 back, it makes him a contender here.
Long shot Speechin and Teachin went by, and here's X-Top stretching out.
X-Top, who could have a big say in how this race is run because this horse is stretching out and should have some speed.
Pier 40 off a short layoff. He ran a very good race at Belmont, and then he disappointed next time.
Yeah, and he's getting back down to the $14,000 level, which is, I think, much more appropriate for him.
Yeah, big drop from his last start. Here's Striking Speed against stretching out the 6, and the big long shot, the 7 at 16-1.
Yeah, beat that flu. Blinkers on, and really going to have to change this horse around.
Kid Chocolate, there he is at 15-1 for a trainer who recently notched number 1,000 in his career, Gary Siaka.
Yeah, nice number for Gary. Kid Chocolate's going to have to improve, too.
Big wonder. He's been sprinting on grass the last couple of starts.
Well, again, a horse that can have a say in how this race is run because he can show speed at times.
And here's Beachfront. Good news for him. This racetrack has dried out a little bit. He appears to be better on the fast going.
And he's very well drawn outside, should get into a good rhythm, and I think he hooks the right group. Listen, if the 6-horse striking speed is the good striking speed, they're all running for second. But I haven't seen that striking speed in a while. And to me, the most likely upsetter is the outside horse, the 11 Beachfront. And I think LaCoya Road's interesting as well.
Jonathan, one of the more difficult races on this Sunday card to handicap.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, my eyes went to the 6 striking speed because of having fast. He's fast. He's got good early speed. He's had some big races in the past. But since he's got to Rob Atris's barn, he just hasn't really shown up to do what he has done in the past. Here's a couple of reasons why I'm going to still go with the horse. One, he's taking money on the board. That's always a good sign. Seems to be working well. He takes money in all of these races at a higher level. Now he's dropped down to the 14. I'm just hoping maybe that he'll make the front, and the other horses chasing him aren't quite as good as the horses that he's been facing in the higher class level. So it's not a horse that I would be cutting in line and necessarily to bet at this price, but he is a horse I do think makes some sense at a price. The other horse I might throw in for a little bit is the 1, Forever Wicked, on the inside. I thought that last race, it was a little bit better than it looks on paper.
All right, JK, thank you. Minutes of post here coming up in the race that begins the Pick 4. I want to remind everyone as well, you can earn a $15 bonus today by playing with Naira Bets. Bet $50 each here at Aqueduct and out west at Los Alamitos. On Naira Bets, you earn that $15 bonus whether you win or lose. You do have to opt in. Don't forget to do that. Go to nairabets.com or download that Naira Bets app to get involved. Go back to the 6 for a moment, striking speed. Jonathan makes a good point. I mean, it's completely different level a company. The start he came back in, at least that first start at Saratoga, Bo Liam was being talked about as a horse who could be a potential superstar in a couple of wins that we saw from him at Saratoga. He's recently been retired, but he had that kind of talent. Not quite as high a level in the last couple of starts, but still softer today.
Oh, it's certainly the easiest competition he's been in, but it's just hard for me to look past how quickly he let go in the last couple of starts. Put a line through the race in Saratoga against Bo Liam. I mean, just way over his head. He was 40-1. He had some trouble down the backstretch. But the last 2 races, both for claiming 35, he had a 3.5-length lead. He was keen that day. He gets beat 32 lengths. Last time he's attending the pace, shortening up. He gets beat 16 lengths. And you could see midway through the race in both of them, there was nothing there. Now, listen, class relief is huge, and sometimes a horse gets in with horses that he just does things easier. He controls the race easier in a more controlled fashion. They can blow up, but I just think there's too many questions at 7-5 for a horse that let go as badly as he did his last 2 starts.
Making their way to the gate for this Pick 4. Let's head back down to Maggie.
Taking a look at a long shot that my eye just kind of kept going back to, Greg. That's number 7 in here. That's Beat That Flu, a horse that typically it takes about 10 people to put the tack on him. He can be so bad to get saddled. And today, well, he's energetic so far in the prelims. He let them put the tack on. He looks great in his coat and weight, which sometimes he does not. He does add blinkers, and it's a kind of a precarious set of blinkers in that it's a cheater cup on the inside and it's a much fuller cup on the outside. So almost a quasi extension run out blinker, but not quite completely covered up on that right outside eye. I like the fact also he gets back to a 1-turn mile. I'm not saying he's a win candidate, but it just feels as though he's a horse that is doing well despite having that terrible effort coming in off the bit of a break, that could or should run better in this second start off the bench. As far as your favorite, number 6, Striking Speed, look, he does have early pace, and it feels like typically, which is true of these tracks when they start to dry out, that speed is good. Speed is a serious weapon to have in general too, but even more potent on tracks like this. So I'm not disregarding him, but I am in the same boat as Richie that he's incredibly tough to trust.
See if he can find some of that back form from his 3-year-old campaign. Those races, he would be nearly unbeatable in this spot, but he has not shown it in 3 starts since he's come back as a 4-year-old.
And again, just, it's one thing to get beaten, but to let go as quickly as he's been letting go midway through the race is problematic for me. And again, I totally acknowledge the drop in class could be a huge benefit to him, and maybe he gets comfortable and he can continue. But at 7-5, I'm trying to beat him.
You got to think, though, connections are saying him showing speed coming out of the sprint. Let's try and open up on this field and see how far he can go.
Well, sprint speed, now he's stretching to a mile in a race that's a little bit suspect from a pace standpoint. Yeah, I think you're just trying to let him get very confident. Maybe he just needs some confidence. He's got to, get in a field that he can beat up on some horses, and he might have found that group here.
6-horse Striking Speed, 6-5 favorite, should be in front. Pick 4 begins here on this Sunday card from South Ozone Park. Let's go upstairs for the call to John Imbrial.
Waiting for Pier 40 and Beachfront. They're all in. And they're off. Beachfront and Big Wonder from the outside. Now Beat That Flu moves up to challenge. It is Beat That Flu. Had to steady there just a bit as they race up the chute. Striking Speed, who was off a step slow, has moved up and is right alongside of Big Wonder. Those two are heads apart. Then it's X-Top running in 3rd. Down on the inside, LaCoya Road is 4th. Beachfront on the outside now back in 5th. Beat That Flu is back running in 6th. And then it is a gap of 3 lengths back to Speechin' and Teachin', who was passed there by Pier 40. Down at the rail is Forever Wicked. At the back of the pack is Kid Chocolate. The quarter went in 23 and 2/5 seconds. LaCoya Road comes through down at the rail to poke ahead in front of the favorite Striking Speed. Just in behind is X-Top as the field goes around the far turn. The half in 46 and 3. LaCoya Road, Striking Speed. They are right together with Beachfront running in 3rd. X-Top is next in 4th. Big Wonder is dropping out of it, passed on the outside by Pier 40. And then it is Forever Wicked. It is Striking Speed. Down on the inside, LaCoya Road. Beachfront just off them in 3rd. And then it is a Pier 40 who's on the extreme outside, followed down towards the rail by X-Top. 3/4 in 1:11 and 4 as they move for the furlong marker. It is Striking Speed. LaCoya Road continues to battle on. Pier 40 is on the outside. Now there's a 16th to the finish. It is Striking Speed and Pier 40 on the outside. Pier 40, Striking Speed. Pier 40 has the momentum and is the winner. Striking Speed was 2nd. LaCoya Road 3rd. X-Top 4th.
Pier 40, Eric Cancel, Orlando Noda. His race 2 starts back made him a major contender near. He just did not show up after that October 14th effort. This is back to what we saw from him off the layoff.
And he got the right kind of setup. Things got a little bit heated up on the front end. You had LaCoya Road come through along the inside to challenge your favorite Striking Speed, who wound up winning the battle but losing the war as Pier 40 rallied down the middle of the track, a horse that has, coming into the effort, 2 wins, 7 seconds. Always questioned his desire to go by horses, but he caught a very leg-weary Striking Speed the last 70 yards to get it done for Orlando Noto, the Noto Brothers LLC, and Eric Cancel.
5-6-2 finish, 4-1, third choice on the board. Kicks off the pick 4. Pier 40, third win of his career. We're going to take a timeout. Still to come, our feature race. And Chad Brown, he's got a strong hand in the 8th with Core Conviction. Winner pool, going to be the morning line favorite and the one to beat. But this youngster facing winners for the first time in his career. Could be dangerous.
Smile Happy was a TDN rising star following his maiden win at Keeneland. From there, he captured the Grade 2 Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes to remain undefeated and earning points toward the Kentucky Derby. In Future Pool 1, Smile Happy was individual leader by lowest odds. Among the top of his crop by stakes winners and earnings, Run Happy continues his rise and is priced for success. Call today and book your mare to Red Hot Sire Run Happy, standing in legendary Stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on America's Day at the Races on FS1, Valley Sports Southern California. Program brought to you in part by Naira Bets, where you can get signed up, started, play all the action. Go to nairabets.com or download the app. Pier 40, 4-1, kicks off the late pick 4. Eric Cancel, Orlando Noto, coming from off the pace to win for just the 3rd time in 30 starts.
Got a real nice setup, too. Things, you know, this was one of those races where it was a contested pace, but they never really let off. It was like no breathers in the middle part of the race. LaCoya Road took it right to your favorite, the 6 Striking Speed. It looked like the 11 Beachfront was poised to make a run, but here comes Pier 40 with the last run down the middle of the track to catch a very leg-weary favorite in Striking Speed. So Eric Cancel with a heads-up ride and a strong finish here to get it done with Pier 40.
And I know he didn't win, too, but at least Striking Speed at least ran a lot better than what we've seen in the last few starts.
Stayed competitive. He didn't quit mid-race. It was definitely a positive. It was a step forward, but Pier 40, 10-20, gets it done.
And moving to a new barn got claimed out of this race as well for $14,000. We'll set up the 7th when we come back. More from Hot Springs as well. The 4th is next at Oaklawn Maiden Claiming Sprint when we return.
My Maximum Security proves he's the real deal with a gate-to-wire win in the Florida Derby.
Champion 3-year-old.
Maximum Security has won the TVG.com Haskell Invitational.
11 triple-digit bias.
Maximum Security. He smoked them in the cigar mile.
Grade 1 winning 4-year-old.
Maximum Security takes them all the way in the TVG Pacific Classic.
Secure your mare's future. Maximum Security.
Backstretch workers are the backbone of the thoroughbred racing industry. Without them, racing would not be possible. The New York Racetrack Chaplaincy provides vital programs and services to all the workers and their families, like Sponsor a Family, the Food Pantry, as well as other recreational activities and events. You can help by visiting our website and donating today. Every dollar makes a difference to those who give everything to the sport that we love.
War Dancer's Saratoga momentum continues as his progeny keep winning. First-time starter, She's Dancing wins by 7 lengths.
She's Dancing, making this look like a walk in the park.
Battle Scars 2 starts and 2 wins at Arlington.
Battle Scars first up on debut.
Pop the Bubbly at 1 mile and a 16th.
Pop the Bubbly to the outside of Concept. Pop the Bubbly gets the win.
And Show Me the Honey at 7 furlongs at Belmont.
And Show Me the Honey is the winner.
Become a part of the momentum. Visit wardancerstud.com to book your mare today.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Back on America's Day at the Races, our program brought to you in part by Hill & Dale at Alapa. We're heading out to Hot Springs for the 4th at Oaklawn. $40,000 maiden claiming sprint at 3/4 of a mile coming up. And here's a look at Pikachu, first-time starter who will get Lasix for the debut.
Pikachu's been working in concert with the horse later on in the 6th race in a maiden allowance race. It should be interesting, the 4 Skyline in that race, to see how Pikachu does, even though that's a bit of a tougher race than this one.
Well, back together again in this one. Steve Asmussen, Ricardo Santana Jr. with the 9-5 favorite leadoff. Let's check in with Gary Stevens.
Yeah, guys, just the first thing, we'll start off with the 2 horse. Looking good so far under Ramon Vasquez. Acted up coming onto the racetrack. He did a great job hanging onto the horse to make sure that he didn't get loose, but did notice blinkers came off today, and the way he was looking around at things, first off, I can understand why he probably had blinkers on, but it's interesting. He went off at 16-1 for maiden 15 up at Woodbine, so this is a class hike for him, but he immediately opened up on the board at 9-2, and he's solid at 4-1 right now, and he galloped off nice. He had some trouble in that first race, so keep an eye on that. And then the 3-horse lead off, the first of Steve Asmussen's 2 horses in here, Ricardo Santana aboard. When this colt walked by, or gelding I should say, he's a picture. He looks fast. He's by a sire that gets early runners, Ken Theros, and he looks quick. He looks fast. He's got a 47-4 work at Louisiana Downs. Steve keeps a lot of horses at Louisiana Downs because he has such big numbers, so don't let that scare you off. And then the 4-horse Can't Beat Me. You know, he's drifting up a little bit at 9-1. The other one, Asmussen's the 7-horse, Raise the Purses. Another good-looking horse by Horace McLean's Music that gets early runners and went off at basically 2-1 first time out at Delta Downs. He was favored. That was a maiden special. He's dropping in for 40, and he was a good looker as well. So how often do we see one of these trainers, especially Steve Asmussen, runs multiple horses in the race? One of them's getting a lot of action, and in slips the other one that they're not looking so much at. So good-looking group here for 40,000. Guys?
All right, Gary, thanks. So, yeah, Asmussen, one with experience, who was bet down to favoritism in the debut, being dismissed, and then Mig, this first-time starter, who's taking all the money right now.
Well, I mean, you know, out of Kentaros, by Kentaros, out of Rivers Prayer. Rivers Prayer was a stakes winner on dirt, Grade 1 winner on dirt, stakes winner on turf, and a stakes winner on synthetic. She won the Princess Rooney Grade 1 at Calder. She came back to Del Mar, where the Rancho Bernardino, all with Clinton Potts, my buddy Clinton Potts. She was very, very fast. She's thrown 3 winners and 2 horses that won on debut, so there's precocity there as well.
And there's some flashy drills from this one in the morning. Talking about the 3 leadoff is the 2-1 favorite, that gray in the background. Let's go to Jonathan for more on how to play this race.
Well, first of all, you look at the 3 leadoff, you look at the silks, you've got the burnt orange in those silks. So that's always something I look forward to. But more importantly, when you look at those silks, it just makes me remember this team of Heilebrat, Asmussen, and Ricardo Santana and what they did a few years back with an unbelievable sprinter by the name of Matoli. And it's interesting. You know, obviously we've talked a little bit about the situation between Ricardo Santana and Steve Asmussen, not riding as much as he was prior. He's still showing up on some horses, basically rode everything for Steve before. But it's interesting to see when he shows up on a horse for owners that have had such a great experience with Ricardo. It's fun to see the team kind of get back together. I respect Gary's opinion about the horse looking fast. The tote board suggests this horse is fast. And this is a horse that's been training down in Louisiana. So the fact that they could have went over to Fairgrounds for a cheaper purse but decided to come up here to run at Oaklawn Park, I think this is a good sign.
That burnt orange, by the way, 3 and 6 this year, JK.
You got a lot of nerve. You're lucky I like Chip Kelly.
I'm just reading the standings. 5-2 on leadoff here. A lot to like with his first-time starter. And good to see Asmussen and then Santana Jr. back together again. That one moving in. 2-year-old son of Cantheros. Giving up quickly on a horse who was favored in a maiden special, granted at Delta Downs for this same barn. Let's go to Vic Stauffer for the call. Here's the 4th from Oaklawn.
Can't Beat Me will be next. And the last horse to load is Remember Normandy. They're at the post. They're off. Very slow start for leadoff. Raise the Purses and Elephant break well. Looking good so far at the rail. Drifter away in 4th. Then Can't Beat Me and Remember Normandy, followed by Pikachu, and distantly last is leadoff. Up the backstretch with Elephant to clear off now, and he leads by a length from Looking Good So Far, and just outside Raise the Purses. Here's Raise the Purses into 2nd. Meanwhile, Drifter is moving up 3 wide. He could get into 3rd soon, and 2 from the front. Hellevitt leads by 2. Drifter's on the move, though. Here comes Drifter outside of Raise the Purses, and now Drifter is going to make a move all the way up to challenge for the lead. Can't Beat Me has 4 lengths to make up, then Looking Good So Far, followed by Remember Normandy and Pikachu. Desperately last is leadoff. Top of the stretch, Elephant and Drifter. These are the 2, and Elephant is tough to get by. He's a neck in front. Drifter is a 2nd. Can't Beat Me is 3rd and 2 from the front. Drifter has forged to a very short lead. He's still got to work from Elephant, who is battling gamely. Can't Beat Me to the outside. Drifter, Elephant at the rail. Can't Beat Me in the center. 3 of them. Drifter, Elephant, Can't Beat Me. Can't Beat Me. Can't Beat Me ran down Drifter and Elephant. Pikachu finished 4th.
Well, today they certainly couldn't. 3rd time out the charm for Can't Beat Me. 2-year-old by Tapiture dropping in for a claiming tag for the first time in his career.
Turned back in distance in a race that seemed like it kept heating up in the middle. Horses were kind of making those middle moves, taking those early shots. Can't Beat Me coming from Remington Park, turning back in distance, dropping in class. And last year we saw, particularly early on in the Oaklawn Park stand, Remington Park form did very, very well shipping into Oaklawn Park.
Can't Beat Me, Francisco Arrieta. He's having a tremendous start to this meet in Hot Springs.
Really, a guy that's always ridden well, getting good opportunities. 3-horse leadoff, first-time starter with the good pedigree from the Seabass Dustin barn. Was just dreadful. Broke slowly and ran slower.
So third time out, this 2-year-old. Easiest field he has faced yet here. Gets the job done in the 4th from Oaklawn. Got a lot more coming up, including featured later today at Oaklawn Fillies and Mares, where we're going to see Sarah Harper, who's been very impressive in her last couple of starts. See if she can make it 3 in a row for Ron Moquette.
Yeah, she's quick. There's other speed in there. It's kind of an interesting race from a pace dynamic, but she's been very good. And it'll just be interesting to see how much pressure she can withstand, because I do think there's some other quick fillies here.
Yeah, time limit on the rail. Intriguing, even though it's been more of a turf horse. That's still to come later. We got to say goodbye to those watching on Valley Sports Southern California. Continuing on over on Fox Sports 1 after a brief pause. We're back on America's Day at the Races. Slight pause to say so long to Valley Sports, but those on FS1 still with us. Thank you for spending part of your Sunday afternoon with Greg Wolf here and Richard Migliori, winningest rider in the history of this racetrack here in South Ozone Park. We have the meat of this card still to come here. The 7th race is next. 50,000 starter allowance, and then it's that feature where Chad Brown will send out 2 in the race. And it looks like both have a shot in Winter Pool and Core Conviction. 7th race here is a 1-turn mile. It's a 50,000 starter allowance. And 4 to 5 on Exotic West, horse who's been primarily of late, filly being run on the turf, but she has some dirt races that definitely make her dangerous in here.
Well, I guess you go back to that dirt race, that rained off in Saratoga going to Mount 8th, and the ease in which she won that race. But kind of felt like that race fell apart a little bit as far as the competition, because it was originally meant for the turf.
Well, let's head downstairs to Maggie.
There's some new faces to talk about here. Coming in from Kentucky, that includes number 4, Blushable, as she'll make her 3rd start for trainer Bill Morey, as she comes in here off the back of a win. Now, Bow Bow Girl, she was your favorite that day. She did return to run a 69 buyer in her subsequent start. And Blushable, I really thought she ran on well late. She strikes you as a filly that just relishes kind of that 1-turn mile configuration, because she's big. She's a substantial animal, but she's also fairly, she's kind of built downhill, more of that sprinter type of frame. So it's just all that makes the perfect sense for her to be kind of that 1-turn mile specialist. So really extending her stride nicely in that non-2 for 30. I like what I see from her here in the paddock. I think she's dangerous, and I do think that Bill Morey's horses are always dangerous, kind of no matter where they show up. Now, number 7, My Lexi Girl, she comes in off the claim here for Linda Rice, picked her up also out of a Churchill race. She followed the winner that day, and she was the beaten favorite. She could just never get by. And watching the replay, she kind of struck me as one that seemed as though she was a smaller, lighter frame filly. Well, cue Linda Rice to always put some conditioning and weight on horses that she acquires, because just speaking out of surmising things from replays, that she has put on weight. Her coat looks great. I don't love the fact that she got beat last time. So I'm going to take the wait and see approach here as I look at her in the paddock. But if you're just picking horses off appearances, the substantial standout is number 3, Suspended Campaign, as she comes in here, won the non-2 for 40 against Amity Island, who came back and won quite impressively as an upset winner here earlier this week. She looks phenomenal. Granted, she always does, but it's like the freshening has even brightened her demeanor, put on weight. Her coat, for it being the middle of December, looks as if it's the middle of July. I really cannot get over how good she looks for trainer Dave Duggan here, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thanks. 5 minutes away here from the 7th coming up. That is Patrick Davis, new paddock judge. Pete Fitzgerald saying goodbye after nearly 4 decades. Such a familiar face on this circuit.
Yeah, just a terrific guy, too. And Patrick Davis, a really nice guy as well, and start of a new era. That's one thing about the racetrack. I remember getting injured and not being able to ride, Greg, and going, how are they going to run the races without me? They continue.
Somehow. Ghost. Going to kick off the post parade with a big price down on the inside.
Yeah, kind of a closing sprinter type. Be interesting to see how she does, leaving Finger Lakes, making her first start here at Aqueduct.
Turf to dirt with Patty's Princess. The last time she was on dirt, she won by 28 lengths. We're up to the 4 already, Blushable.
Blushable, William Maury, a trainer people need to learn his name and respect around here, has over 1,700 career wins.
Matula stretched out. She's undefeated going a mile.
Yeah, and she's got pace. She should be forwardly placed to be a part of the fray early.
Some big races on dirt for Exotic West, including a 3rd behind Willful Woman, who was 2nd in the Black-Eyed Susan.
Yeah, and she's a filly that can handle either surface, turf, or dirt, so definitely a deserving favorite.
My girl Lexi went by, claimed by Linda Rice, and here's Cadeau to Pay.
Yeah, filly that should be getting a nice trip from the outside, stretching out slightly in pace.
Carrick at 34-1 on the outside.
Yeah, a filly that just going to have to improve. She was a well-beaten 2nd last time and off the turfer, but really her recent form leaves a lot to be desired.
Orlando Notabarn looking to win back-to-back starts here after taking that last race. Exotic West, there's the 6. So odds on right now, Javier Castellano will ride for Gary Siaka, and this was that race you alluded to back on August the 1st, I should say, at Saratoga. 1 1/8. It was meant for the grass, taken off. She was forwardly placed and won by 2.5 lengths in the end.
Yeah, in a race that I feel like just kind of came apart a bit because it was an off the turfer, but listen, she's good form. 4 to 5 seems a bit short to me. I think there are other ways to go. I like Maggie's idea with the 4 Blushable. Again, a trainer, William Maury, that I think people need to pay attention to. He's a guy who knows how to win and is a winner whatever circuit he competes on.
Well, this filly here, she used to be early on in her career with Bob Baffert. She showed sprint speed, going 6.5 furlongs at Del Mar when she debuted. For more, let's go to Jonathan.
Yeah, I'll echo what Maggie said earlier, which was her idea. I didn't even think about it. But today is kind of that day, it feels like, where we're trying to figure out if these horses are going to stay up in New York, where there's not going to be any turf, or if they're going to go somewhere else where they can find a little grass to run on. The 6 Exotic West is the type of horse that we've seen. We've seen this story before where, yes, she's probably best on turf, but she's probably just better than these other horses. She's being bet that way. And the thing about her, which actually works out, is that she does have some back dirt races. So at least you know that she can stand up on dirt. And I think that she should be tough to beat in here. Now, I'm not encouraging anyone to go bet on her at 4 to 5. I don't know if that's necessarily the best wager for a turf horse running on the dirt, but I do believe that she is the best horse in the race. If you're playing a multi-race bet, I think you could probably look to press her up in that opinion. The 4 Blushable was another one. The guys and gals have already kind of talked a little bit about Bill Morey. When you see a high percentage trainer, okay, and Bill Morey is 20% this year, 24% in his career. Anything above 20% is something you want to pay attention to, especially when they show up in a new circuit. So I'm interested to see how the 4 runs, and at 6 to 1 could be a nice alternative to the likely winner in the 6, Exotic West. But like we've said before, some of you out there are a little bit allergic to chalk, so maybe the 4 is better for you.
All right, 5 to 1, JK, giving us some alternatives. You got that 5 there in the background, Matula, who since she has stretched out, she is undefeated now. She's 1 or 2 starts at a mile by 8+ lengths. Let's go to Maggie.
That's exactly who we'll check in here with, Greg. As Matula, she has kind of found that new running style with the added distance, and I think we're going to see much of the same here with the new barn at her back in the Mertan-Cantermasi connection. Manny Franco gave her a huge warm-up away from the pony, just galloped her away really quite nicely. And, you know, the Cantermasis, when they pick up horses first off the claim, they do tend to have success. And when they, even more so, when they show confidence in their horses. So therefore, they're protecting her here after picking her up out of a non-2 for 30. Now, I don't think that was a very strong race, but she handled them with the utmost ease after setting some slower type of fractions. But I do feel as though she is a filly that is on that upswing, and she's a big price right now. You know, I don't have any problems with Exotic West, and as JK was saying, she's probably just better than these, but I did feel as though there were some alternatives, and maybe to use underneath, that were sitting at big prices that I just feel as though their odds might be a bit inflated, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. 11 to 1. Yeah, I mean, why not continue to ride that train and see if she's up to the task here, showing just much improved running style, going longer. The 8's taken play too, Cadota Pai, but she's been more successful really sprinting in her career.
Yeah, first time she's stretching out since May. She ran, well beaten 2nd that day. That was the only time she tried the mile distance. Cadota Pai, gift of peace or peace offering? See, you learn something new every day, don't you? Not for nothing. It's not just about...
You constantly are teaching me on this show. Not just about the racetrack.
I think I'm subconsciously allergic to chalk, like Jonathan just said. I'm always trying to find an alternative to the favorite.
That's what you want to do, especially at even money in a race like this. That's why we love this sport. Try and find holes in the favorite and make money here. Exotic West of the 6, deserving favorite, but that is a short price in here. Javier Castellano again, Gary Siaka. This filly looking for the 3rd win on her resume. Has that good dirt effort. I would expect to see her, very good chance she's actually in front in this race if she still has that speed she showed early in her career.
Yeah, she'll definitely be forwardly placed. I don't see her being far off the lead, if not on the lead.
7th here from Aqueduct. 1-turn mile coming up. Let's go to John Imbrial for the call.
Waiting for Blushable and Carrick. They're all in. And they're off. It is Cadeau de Paix. My Girl Lexi now moves up. There goes Matula to challenge. And the gray Patty's Princess as the field races up the chute. It is Matula with a narrow lead here. My Girl Lexi on the outside runs in second. Patty's Princess down on the inside, next and third. And then it is Exotic West and Cadeau de Paix. They're right together. Blushable is alongside in 6th, but only 3.5 lengths from the lead. Then it's Ghost, who's running in 7th, 5 lengths back to the 2 trailers, Carrick and Suspended Campaign. First quarter, 23 seconds. And it is Matula with the lead here by 1.5 lengths. And then it is Blushable. On the outside is My Girl Lexi. My Girl Lexi is running in second. Cadeau de Paix on the outside. The favorite Exotic West is in between horses. Blushable is down at the rail. 2.5 lengths to Suspended Campaign, who has gained some ground and is in 6th, but continues to move up on the outside. Then Carrick and Ghost. There goes Cadeau de Paix now to take over the lead from Matula. My Girl Lexi on the outside, and then Exotic West, followed by Blushable. Out in the middle of the track is Suspended Campaign. It is Cadeau de Paix. Here comes Exotic West, who is now kicking in on the outside. Exotic West up to take over the lead from Cadeau de Paix. Suspended Campaign moving up with a 16th to the finish. It is Exotic West in front. Suspended Campaign, one last try on the outside. Exotic West holds on by a neck. Suspended Campaign with a good run to be second.
Exotic West, Javier Castellano choosing to take her off the pace today.
Had to extricate himself from a tricky position around the far turn. He had the 4-horse Blushable right to his inside. Javier was able to kind of get out around heels, put her out in the clear coming off the 5/16 pole. And she went after Cadeau de Paix, who had opened up. You see Jose Ortiz tried to rip the race open, leaving the 5/16 pole, and then had to hold off a good late run from the 3 Suspended Campaign. Dave Duggan, nice winner yesterday. Another good run here. Horses are running well for the Dave Duggan barn, but Exotic West, Gary Siaka, working on 2,000 victories now.
Long way to go.
Long way to go.
Just got number 1,000 is in his career, what, beginning of December?
Yeah, I think this is 1,002 now. So everything starts with the first step,
That's
though,
true.
Greg.
Exotic West, 3-year-old filly, winning for the 3rd time in her career. She had to dig in a little bit late because, yeah, Blushable certainly did make this, Suspended Campaign made this interesting late, 11-1. She went off more than double her morning line in here. Even money favorite, though. Aaron, the 7th from Aqueduct. Feature race is coming up next with Winterpool, Core Conviction, Adair, Auburn Hills. Good group lining up next in the main event on this Sunday card. Stick with us. We'll be back after a short break.
A Grade 1 winner of nearly $2 million, Silver State hails from the sire line of legendary Claiborne Stallion Danzig. And his second dam is full sister to Kentucky Derby winner Monarchos. After winning the Oaklawn Handicap, Silver State defeated Knicks Go in the Grade 1 Metropolitan Handicap. On the board in 12 of 14 starts from ages 2 to 4, his career included a 6-race winning streak. Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. 7th at Aqueduct in the books, Exotic West. Wins is the even money favorite. The smiling Javier Castellano. Picture time here, teaming up with Gary Siaka and Louis Laznaro.
Yeah, was in a little bit of a tough position leaving the half-mile pole. Javier was adroitly able to extricate himself from that spot, get her out in the clear. That's what you want to do with a favorite too, Greg. You don't want to get too fancy. You want to at least give them an opportunity to use their stride, to use their ability. She hit the front here, and then she was getting a little bit leg weary late. The 3-horse really made a good run at her and suspended campaign, but ran out of real estate. It's Exotic West gets it done as a favorite.
So short price here, $4.20 for the win. Suspended campaign. My Girl Lexi helped those exotics. 11-1 over 6-1 in second and third. And the main event on this Sunday card is coming up next. But first, it's off to Hot Springs. And back here at Oaklawn to set up race 5. Mile and a 16th, 2 turns. $20,000 claiming race for horses who have not won 2 lifetime. And even money on Speightstown again. Robertino Diodoro, one of the absolute best claiming trainers in this sport. First off the claim with that 4. Here's Into Orbit to start the post parade.
Into Orbit, last couple races on turf. It's going to have to show that he can get it done on dirt against tougher.
Chase Tracker. Nick Zito actually taking play 15-1 down to 6-1.
Yeah, some of the races I thought at Saratoga, more recently a race at Keeneland, would make this horse interesting here at a bit of a price.
Bold Minister, 3-year-old son of Firing Line, just claimed.
Claimed for 10, run for 20. Is going to have to come up with one of his better races.
The even money favorite. Speightstown again, Diodoro and David Cohen.
Yeah, was claimed for 30. Makes first start for Robertino Diodoro. Dropping to 20 is, gone the relative amount of time that he needs to drop in class off the claim.
John Court, he won the feature yesterday. He'll team up with Richard Jackson here.
I thought this horse was a little bit interesting. A horse coming out of Remington Park. Again, I see that Remington Park form usually does okay at Oaklawn.
And we'll revisit last Samurai's win in that poinsettia later in the show. So Brave went by, big price. Here's the 8 wherever he is for Tim Martin.
Yeah, horse coming off a nice victory, maiden allowance at Delta Downs. How is that going to translate here at Oaklawn?
Assumption, intriguing, coming in from out of town off one of the best figures he's ever run.
Yeah, horse that just seems like he's found his groove stretching out. Could be a factor here for sure.
And Charlie Can Do to the outside, comes in from Hawthorne. A couple of races that were taken off the turf.
Yeah, and, you know, it just makes you wonder how tough the general overall field was coming off the turf.
So that's your field here for this fifth from Oaklawn. Begins a pick 5 wager in this race. So let's go back to JK.
Yeah, look, looking at the prices, I thought that the 9 made a little bit of sense. It was a little bit shorter morning line, the 9 Assumption. Horse is drawn towards the outside, which is always something I like at Oaklawn Park. Has tactical speed. I think that's the trip that wins very often there. Kind of that 2, 3, 4 path, stalking outside in the clear, making run. Aggressive riders there, so you can always kind of find a good position from there, not to end up being 5, 6 wide. This horse ran well last time, has run well since getting to the new barn, and I just thought this horse with the draw made a lot of sense. Have to see how that form from Mahoning Valley transfers, but I do think from a speed figure standpoint, he fits in here, and I do like the outside draw too, and the price, nothing wrong with 8-1.
No, not at all. Beating even money favorite to start off a pick 5. That's what you want in this game.
Yeah, always trying to find prices. I mean, I guess the 4 is going to be formidable. Tough connections, right? You know, claimed last time, drops in class.
Yeah, but look, sometimes it's an opportunity, too. I mean, these connections, just because of who they are, Robertino Diodoro and David Cohen, they're going to get overbet, especially at this meet where they have so much success.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they're always going to attract more attention. And that's because of their past success. They have kind of proven out that they're a formidable combination. Flying P Stable, Jay Provenzano's had a terrific year on the New York circuit. Really done well with all of his claims.
But even take connections out of it and just on form, deserving probably to be favored anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he's just very good. I mean, you know, for this level, I mean, his speed figures really match up well to begin with. Now, if he happens to even improve or just stay the same, it makes him very strong here.
Yeah, I mean, 2 of the intriguing runners in here that can potentially spring the upset. It's out-of-town form that you question whether it will hold up here at Oaklawn with wherever he is, the 8, coming in from Delta Downs, and Assumption, the 9, Thistle Down and Mahoning Valley.
That's kind of interesting, too. You talk about wherever he is. It's the horse coming out of Delta Downs. Well, 7 furlongs is 2 turns there. So he's already been successful at 2 turns. And it just feels like a horse that kind of has figured out the game as he's gone along. Like he's just improved steadily. And sometimes it takes a horse a little while to get the hang of it, right?
Yeah. Start by start, yeah, those numbers have gone up each and every time for the 8. Wherever he is, and as Mig mentioned, that's important to note, yeah, has gone the 2 turns, even though it was only 7 furlongs. That was the biggest figure he's ever earned. Now we'll see if he can go a little bit further. At a track he has been at before, he was not competitive when he was here last spring, so that sort of makes you take pause a little bit. But I think you can make the argument he's a different horse than he was in the 2nd and 3rd starts of his career.
Oh, absolutely. And again, just you look at his buyer speed figures, how they've steadily kind of improved and advanced. Looked like he had trouble getting out of the gate early in his career, really hadn't got the hang out of breaking. Obviously, that's changed. He's gotten better. Son of Empire Maker, you would expect that the mile and 16th's no problem. And the fact that he's just an improving sort.
Can he be, and we're talking about the 8 wherever he is he the one potentially who's in front as well?
Well, that's it. Now that he's kind of gotten the hang of braking, he's put himself a lot more in the game. Even sprinting, he's putting himself in the game. So, yeah, I do think he's going to be forward, and there's a good chance he can set the pace. The 9 Assumption has some speed. Yeah, the other thing that's interesting about the 8, wherever he is, David Cabrera signs on here. I mean, this is a guy that has options. He can ride a lot of different horses in different races, but he winds up here.
It's a horse who, you know, before he ever ran, he obviously looked pretty good in the auction ring. He went for $300,000, son of Empire Maker, out of a Bernardini mare. But he immediately was put into maiden claiming. Actually tried him on turf in his debut. its original connections.
Yeah, sometimes it's just that a horse hasn't really got the hang of it. They haven't shown a tremendous amount in training, so you're reaching for straws a little bit too. But just like people, some people it takes them longer to, the learning curve is longer for them than for other people who can get the hang of things. They have the knack right away.
Still to come, our feature at Oaklawn. That'll be race 8 on today's card. And that's where we will see Sarah Harper try and make it 3 consecutive wins for Ron Moquette. She looks like she is going to be very tough to beat in that spot, but going to have to deal with not only time limit, there's another really interesting filly in this race as well when we get to it. Miss Imperial, who has put together 4 consecutive wins at lower level Assiniboia in Canada, and has won 8 of her last 11 as well when we get there.
I think it's a very interesting feature. And, yes, I mean, the thing that jumps off the page at you is Sarah Harper because she's been so eye-catching. But I think she's got some heat to deal with today.
That's coming up again in the 8th on the card. Right now it's race 5 here from Oaklawn. Speightstown again, even money favorite for one of the best in the business in this claiming game. Robertina Diodoro forced off the claim. There's the 4 from his barn with his main pilot, David Cohen. Vic Stauffer with the call from Hot Springs.
Speightstown again, and Assumption. Last to load, Charlie Can Do. They're at the post. They're off. Into Orbit stumbled very badly. First rate is as for speed, and so is Wherever He Is, and Wherever He Is will take the lead from first rate in a second. So Brave away in third. Charlie Can Do 3 deep in fourth. Speightstown again breaks fifth. Then comes Assumption, followed by Chase Tracker and Bold Minister, and the slow stumbling start for Into Orbit has him at the back of the pack. Wherever He Is in front by 2 lengths from Charlie Can Do and So Brave together second and third. Speightstown again secures a good striking position. He's fourth in the pink and about 3.5 off the lead. Just outside of him, it's Assumption. Then 2.5 lengths back to Chase Tracker and Bold Minister. Into Orbit is out of last place. He's 10 off the lead. And now first rate is the trailer. There's a half mile left to race, and Wherever He Is the leader. Wherever He Is, a 2-length lead on Charlie Can Do in second. Then comes So Brave, joined and passed by Speightstown again. Bold Minister is going with the favorite, and these two now third and fourth respectively. To the outside, and Assumption still in with a chance. Chase Tracker is next. Into Orbit, and far back is first rate. Top of the stretch, Wherever He Is has been joined and passed by Charlie Can Do. New leader, top of the stretch, Charlie Can Do, and he squirts away by 2 lengths. Now Speightstown again begins to run after him, but Charlie Can Do has got the jump past mid-stretch and leads by 4 lengths. Speightstown again is second. Then Wherever He Is an Assumption, but Charlie Can Do, a 16th out, is now 6 lengths in front. Speightstown again will try to hold second. Charlie Can Do did. Charlie Can Do won by 8. Very close for second. Maybe Speightstown again over Assumption. Wherever He Is finished fourth.
Charlie Can Do with the victory. He was beat by Gagoots, who we saw run a very good runner-up finish to Bryce earlier on in the card today.
This horse was always traveling like a winner under apprentice Chelsea Bailey. She was just sitting on her. You sort of took a long, kind of languishing look back, leaving the 5/16 post. She knew she had the measure of the 8 horse Wherever He Is. Set this horse down. He threw away as much the best. The 4, Speightstown again, chased in vain, but just could not close in. And it got very close late for second. I still think Speightstown again hung on for second, but it did get very close late.
4-year-old son of Shanghai Bobby, just 2 for 21 now lifetime, but he was dominant today. Feature next here in South Ozone Park, and Chad Brown sending out 2. Winner Pool, the more experienced of that duo, the son of Curlin, looking for the 3rd win on his resume.
The breeding industry is governed by one principle: performance determines success.
And Constitution has won!
Now, he's earning his stripes by siring stars.
Independence Hall wins the Hagyard Bayette.
American Revolution charging up on the outside. Fireworks in the stretch here in the Cigar Mile. American Revolution has won.
Constitution, a natural-born leader.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Nobody wants to fall into a safety net, but when adversity or hardship presents itself, it beats the alternative. Since 1943, the Jockey Club Safety Net Foundation has been serving those individuals and families in need across every facet of the thoroughbred industry. Help us continue to be the safety net and catch those most in need. Visit tjcfoundation.org to learn more.
Introducing Adelphi Racing Club, the horse racing syndicate offering more than just fractional ownership. Enjoy the thrill of an interactive thoroughbred ownership experience competing at the sport's highest level. Attend events where you'll interact with top trainers, industry professionals, and club members. We've cheered on winners from coast to coast at top tracks such as Santa Anita and Saratoga.
And it will be Exotic West.
Become part of a group that celebrates success together. Visit adelphiracing.com and join the club today.
We're back at America's Day at the Races, our program brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Our feature race, here's the post parade, and this horse surprisingly is open as the favorite for Chad Brown.
Well, it was impressive breaking his maiden on the dirt last time. Waxman came back and won going a mile here, too.
Here's the speedy Auburn Hills. He was behind Adair last time out.
Yeah, and he was beaten a length and a quarter back in Saratoga by one of the favorites, Winterpools.
Big price on Semper Fidelis, and here's a look at Kaz's Beach.
Yeah, Kaz's Beach, tricky horse ride. Got a great ride by Trevor McCarthy last time. A horse that has a very short run.
Adair has just had the misfortune of facing some really good horses the last couple of starts.
Yeah, and a beautiful son of Medaglia d'Oro out of the mare Ocean Goddess.
Dust Devil, 14-1 for Hall of Famer Bill Mott.
Yeah, horse turning back in distance, had gone as far as a mile and a half, 2 starts back.
My First Grammy, 56-1 for Oscar Barrera.
Well, he would be a big surprise for sure. Gets a 10-pound apprentice that actually been pretty impressive.
3 jokers, Dylan Davis for John Terranova.
Horse that does his best when he's a part of the pace, could be a part of that pace today.
Winterpool, that 9-2 is going to come down. He's going to be close to favoritism, I would think, by post time.
Yeah, hard-trying son of Curlin, a horse that needs to be hard-ridden.
And Carruthers going to be getting on dirt for the first time in his career.
Taking money again. Took a lot of money in his U.S. debut. That was on turf. This is on dirt.
Let's head down to Maggie for more.
Taking a look at the duo for trainer Chad Brown, and as you were saying, Greg, the one-facing winners for the first time, receiving the most attention early on here in the wagering. And number 1, Core Conviction, a horse that this is the first time I'm laying eyes on him personally, and he is second off that long layoff, though he came back with aplomb, dominating a field of fellow maidens. As you heard Richie say, Waxman came back, ran an 80 with that victory, so improving a bit too, so that's always good to see, and is moving quite nicely out there as we see him getting a nice warm-up from rider Jose Ortiz. He's fine. I just thought there were some better looking, some more proven commodities, but I understand in taking the horse that has the upside, in which he looks incredibly fit, second off the bench. I like Chad's other horse in here. That's number 9, Winterpool. He was kind of forced into the race a bit because of the slow pace, maybe taken out of his running style a bit, was in amongst horses, then had to switch out. And once he switched out, he was really running late. And Ducali, who is a talented runner, just got to do his thing on the front end. So I think Winterpool ran really well in retrospect last time out, given the dynamics of the race. This is a horse that in the past has lacked some focus, doesn't always like to run straight. So he is not wearing the typical Chad Brown uniform and a regular snaffle bit and a drop noseband. He does wear a Houghton bit. But today, relative to his other starts, he is so much more focused. And physically, he looks the best. Now, an interesting proposition is number 10, Carruthers, and I think he's only a good wagering proposition if he continues to drift up in price because he's never been on the dirt. But watching that victory in England, in Southall, at Southall on the synthetic, the way that track looks, granted I've never been there, and the way that he traveled over it, though, he looked like a dirt horse. And he doesn't look overly turf. He's worked well on the dirt. I think this is the right surface that Connections are wheeling this horse back quickly. He looks incredibly fit, second off the bench now, even more tucked up than what he did on December 2nd. So he's an interesting proposition. I think we will see more from him on the surface change, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Good group coming up, trying to get through that first allowance condition, and that one right there, getting on dirt for the first time. Let's go to JK.
Yeah, I thought two horses in here made the most sense. Look, I'm going to start with the 9, Winterpool. This is a horse that Maggie was talking about. When it comes to that one-turn mile, I want a horse that can finish, and I know Winterpool is that type of horse. He won going 1 1/8 at Saratoga. If you can run going 1 1/8 at Saratoga, you'll finish going that one-turn mile at Aqueduct. I think the pace should be honest enough. I thought he ran well last time, and he surprisingly enough, he's actually a much better price than I thought he might end up being. I thought he would be a lot shorter. The other horse that, obviously Chad's other horse on the inside absolutely has a chance, probably a little bit overbet from the rail. I thought the 5, Adair, was another one that made a little bit of sense. Spent most of this year out in California, ran some nice races on the dirt there, then shows up here and runs well enough in those 2 spots, gets nice speed figures in those 2 spots, and I'm not mad at all about getting 5 to 1. Those are the top 2 for me. The 5, a better price, but I'm going to go with the 9, who I know will be finishing.
All right, JK, you and Maggie agree. Mig, you're going to the 5, Adair, who he faced untreated last time out, ran a 96 buyer, and could be a factor next year as a 4-year-old. In some pretty good races for Pletcher. That was his first race back since he faced Essential Quality in the Bluegrass. He faced Miles D, the Discovery winner, 2 starts back. He barely missed to him.
I think he's been facing very good company, and he's run extremely well. He's a horse that does take a bit of a ride. You've got to be encouraged, but I think he gets a good setup. He gets Jose Lezcano for the first time, and he's just an absolutely beautiful physical specimen. I love his pedigree, and I love the way he looks on the racetrack. And I think he's a decent price.
Very surprised you're getting 9 to 2. That is certainly value with Adair, and this is probably going to be his last race out here on the East Coast. Neil Drysdale thinks a mile is his best distance, a 1-turn mile, but he is going to turn him, or send him back, I should say, to the West Coast after this race. We'll see if he can go out a winner before he makes that trip. Featured 8th from Aqueduct. It's Core Conviction, the favorite from the rail for Chad Brown. He also has the 9 winner pool with Manny Franco. Let's go upstairs for the call. Here's John Imbrial.
Set for the start. And they're off. It is 3 jokers showing first, and now moving up Auburn Hills. Down at the rail is Core Conviction, who gains, and it is Core Conviction and Auburn Hills. They are right together, and Adair is there on the outside. So it's 3 of them stacked across the track for the lead. They've opened up 2 lengths on 3 jokers, who's now back in 4th. On the outside is Carruthers next in 5th. Kaz's Beach down on the inside in 6th, 3 lengths. To Semper Fidelis running in 7th. Winterpool is next in 8th, followed by Dust Devil in 9th. And it is a big break back to My First Grammy, who is 10th. The quarter 22 and 3/5 seconds. And it is the favorite Core Conviction leading here by 3/4 of a length. Auburn Hills in between horses. Adair's on the outside. Core Conviction by a half length. Auburn Hills second by a head. Adair's on the outside in 3rd. A break of almost 4 to 3 jokers, who races in 4th. Followed on the outside by Carruthers. Kaz's Beach is down at the rail. Winterpool is alongside. And then Dust Devil. The half 45 1/5 seconds. It is Core Conviction who has the lead as they turn into the stretch. Auburn Hills on the outside in second. Adair has dropped back. Kaz's Beach is down at the rail. Gaining ground on the outside is Dust the Devil. Winterpool is now coming on through along with Three Jokers. It is Core Conviction. Here comes Three Jokers. Here comes Dust Devil on the outside. Core Conviction still there. They come for the finish. Core Conviction holds on. 3/4 of a length. Three Jokers were second. Then Dust Devil and Winterpool.
Core Conviction makes a major move forward. This is first time in against winners, and he was facing a pretty good group. He's won back-to-back starts. Now he's undefeated on dirt.
I tell you what, he ran really, really well today. This was a big step up from his maiden score where he was impressive, but he showed good speed from the rail. He was under pressure. He set very legitimate fractions on the fast side, 45 and change, and he just continued. He held off the closers, but he put away all of the horses that tried him early, and he had more than enough left to hold off anybody that was closing on him. This was an impressive performance and a big step forward for Core Conviction. Was a little bit green leaving the chute. Looked like he actually even made a little bit of step towards the chute. Maybe we get a head on there at some point, but Core Conviction, big step forward today.
Stablemate Winterpool winds up fourth. Adair seems like he didn't really show up in this race.
He was chasing the pace 3 wide, but he was empty before they turned for home. You saw him under pressure. He just was not very good on the day. The 9-horse Winterpool, you know, he got his trip. He's a horse that wants pace to run. He got pace to run at. He made a half-hearted run and kind of flattened out. Three Jokers kept on, you know, steadily, kind of after a 4-wide rally throughout, but Core Conviction was good. He did all the dirty work, and he was the last man standing.
Son of the Triple Crown champion, American Pharaoh, who was expensive, $435,000 purchase. They debuted him on turf, and now he's won back-to-back starts, undefeated on dirt, winning at 7 furlongs and now at a 1-turn mile as the 2-to-1 favorite. We'll be back with more America's Day at the Races right after this.
This is the horse.
He is just too good.
This is the horse who became only the second champion 2-year-old to win the Travers in 3 decades. This is the horse who is the only Breeders' Cup juvenile hero ever to lift the Belmont Stakes. History-making brilliance. That's his essential quality. Essential quality. This is the horse. Just imagine.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, program brought to you by Naira Bets. Get signed up started. Go to nairabets.com or download the app. Bonus 200 code to use at sign up. 2-win day for Jose Ortiz, who takes the feature as well. Let's go to Maggie.
It's always good to be Jose Ortiz here at the Big A. And Jose, Core Conviction, we saw him break his maiden last time, similar fashion, but today took a lot of pressure and he fought off every challenger.
Yeah, we broke. I felt like I broke a step behind, so I had to go on him a little bit more than I wanted to. You know, it's a little tricky both out of the one hole there, you know. You have to cross the chute. He was looking around a lot. I think he improved a lot from last time, and that's a good sign.
Now, a horse that they tried on the turf first time out, you weren't aboard that day, but boy, does he look like a promising dirt horse as he does close out this 3-year-old campaign.
I think so. He looked good last time. He looked good today. I felt like he improved, like I said before. And, yeah, he looked very good. I think he's going to keep improving.
Chad Brown obviously keeps a string here with his assistant, Dan Stubb. You'll be here. I would have to think you're going to be first call rider, aren't you?
I think Chad, hopefully. I hope. Yeah, Chad has been great to me. I ride a lot of good horses for him. When I made the decision I was going to stay here, I talked to him, and he was very happy that I was going to be here. So I guess I'm going to be riding pretty much everything for him.
Makes sense. Very good rider. Jose, congratulations. All right. I think I got him blushing a little bit there, Greg. But a Core Conviction looks to have a serious future on his hands now. He's 2 for 2 on the dirt.
That was impressive from this very inexperienced horse, tackling a field that had some nice credentials.
Yeah, I mean, it's only his third start. This was a big step forward. His maiden breaking effort was good. This was a whole nother level. And he talked about him being a little bit green out of the chute. He was looking around. I could see, you know, and you got a lot of empty space. You got to keep the horse's attention. But Core Conviction, he reports home as your favorite, 620. And I honestly thought he was going to have his hands full with several of the contenders in here. He was just best.
Take a look at the late pick 5 follow along. Pool $351,000. It began with Captivating Cara as a favorite, but an 0 for 18 favorite. Now another favorite wins here with Core Conviction. The Nightcap is next as we're back in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Race 6 from Oaklawn. Starts the late pick 4. It is a maiden special weight. Everyone looking for that first win. And a 6-furlong sprint to try and get it. The favorite right now back to normal. The experience of this field. This is going to be start number 5 for him.
Yeah, from solid connections, Mike Maker, Ricardo Santana seems to have picked up a lot of the Mike Maker business.
Faced the horse who he's not going to be the champ. He didn't run in the Breeders' Cup due to injury, but Jack Christopher, I think many believe is probably the best 2-year-old out there right now.
He was in front of him early, too. And that can be very debilitating for a horse to have the lead and then have a horse of superior talent like a Jack Christopher draw away from them. The fact that he didn't completely cave in, he hung around for 4th. His last race in the mud set a fast pace, going 5.5 and kind of stopped.
Here is Masai Warrior, first-time starter for Brad Cox from the rail.
Taking money from very strong connections here. This is the first foal out of an unraced mare.
Mamzouj, start number 3.
Ran okay on debut. Took a step backwards last time. Danny Pites, his horses tend to get better with racing.
One of the best in the game, Mike Maker, Paradise Farms, sending out back to normal with Ricardo Santana Jr.
Yeah, any one of his 2 previous efforts before the last race, which was on a muddy track, would be certainly good enough to win here.
First-time starter Skyline, son of Street Sense, big price.
Yeah, his work tab matches up with Pikachu, who ran for maiden claiming in the 4th race, and Pikachu did not fare too well.
Next door, Treaty, new gelding. He'll get Lasix and blinkers for his second start.
Yeah, kind of the complete makeover here. It's going to have to make a big turnaround.
Stablemate of the horse on the rail, Deputy Connect, also from the Brad Cox barn, son of Connect.
Yeah, good steady work tab. He's been working at Oaklawn Park. Always like to see workouts over the racing surface.
First-time starter for Steve Asmussen, son of Ghost Sapper here, Robert's Ghost.
Yeah, half to a Grade 1 winner in Lighthouse Bay. Good sprinting filly. Won the Priors when it was a Grade 1 here in New York.
20-1, or 19, I should say, on Eve Sherman, first time out.
This horse is kind of interesting. Couple of really serious works. A good 5-furlong drill. And this is an Arkansas bred. They ran Arkansas bred maiden races for 2-year-olds yesterday. This horse winds up in open company.
Yeah, big sign of confidence. That was a bullet gate drill last time out, too. Bet he's ready. Speed and backed up in the debut, but did show some ability for Steve Asmussen first time out.
Yeah, speed and stopped, and now returns at Oaklawn Park with the addition of Lasix. They allow 2-year-olds to run on Lasix at Oaklawn Park. When you see a horse stop as badly as this horse did, you always wonder if maybe there wasn't an issue that Lasix could help correct.
Let's go to Gary Stevens for more.
Yeah, guys, good-looking group of colts and geldings in here. As always, you can't fault the Brad Cox horses. Both of them looked outstanding in there, as well as the Asmussen. But listen, I'm going to go with the best-looking horse I saw in the paddock. Was on his toes out here on the racetrack. Loved what I was seeing. Is Mamzouge for Danny Pites. I heard Richie talking about his horses do improve. He ran decent his first out, but this colt looks like he's come around since maybe his last race at Churchill Downs. And then the 3 back to normal. He looked great in the paddock as well. Throw out his last race over the muddy track. As far as I'm concerned, he gets a fast racetrack today. And it looks like all systems are go there as well for Mike Maker. But again, down on the fence, Maasai Warrior for Brad Cox. That's the only thing I don't love about him today is I hate here at Churchill or at Oaklawn Park drawing the one hole sprinting with the first-time starter. It's a very, very short run till you hit the main track. And there's actually quite a short rail to keep your horses straight. And if you don't break well, which a lot of first-time starters don't get away well, it's a big wave that comes over in front of them, and those holes close up quick, and you get forced back. So if he gets away well, who knows? He has the looks to possibly, get the money first time out. But this is a wide-open event, guys.
Gary, thanks. It is a lot of inexperience in this field, and that's why right now at least the public seems to be going with the one who is the most experienced from the Sharp Barn of Mike Maker. Jonathan?
Yeah, look, I actually fired up the Naira bets and was thinking about putting in a wager on the 3 back to normal. This horse has a ton of early speed. When it comes to young horses, I love horses that can make the front. They don't have to worry about trip. They just go to the front and they go on. This horse has foundation. He has a great trainer. He has a great rider. He's getting Lasix for the first time. There's all these things. The only issue I have is there's so many unknowns. 2 Brad Cox first-time starters, a Steve Asmussen, a Villafranco. And my concern is not so much that the 3's not going to run his race. It's that someone else is going to run a better race. I think the 3 will hit the exacta. I think the horse will either win or run second. If you're playing this race, the way you can do that with exactas is you can play a $10 exacta, 3 with the logical horses, the Brad Cox runner, the Villafranco, so on and so forth. Then you can flip it and bet it for $5 with the 3 in second using those logical horses in first. Essentially, it's just a little bit of a more efficient and higher reward way to play the place bet of win, place, show fame. So I think the 3's going to hit the board, run first or second. I would love to bet him to win, just too short of a price with so many unknowns.
Yeah, barns that are so sharp first time out, specifically Brad Cox and Steve Asmussen, and we will see. I mean, some of their horses aren't taking the kind of money that makes you think that they are stars that are ready to debut here, certainly.
No, but it's an interesting, I tell you what, I like the tutorial. I think that's something that, it's important for people to learn and dig into. I know I learn when I hear Jonathan talk about maybe how to wager on this race. If you like the 3 at 8-5, which is a bit of a shorter price, how do you maximize it? And I think there's an art to the wagering, aspect of this as much as there is to picking horses, how to maximize your wagering dollar. And I think that was fantastic what he just talked about.
Well, this horse here we're looking at, this is one of the Brad Cox debuters. He's got the 6 as well. 6 is very cold on the board. This one is a little bit cold as well. That price starts to come down now. It was 7-2 a moment ago from a 5-2 morning line.
Well, listen, I understand why the 1 would take more money. He's got Florent Drew. That's his main guy. That's his go-to guy in the majority of circumstances. The one negative is that Maasai Warrior has been working at Turfway Park. Turfway Park is a synthetic surface. Now, this horse does have workouts previous at Keeneland earlier in the year on dirt at Keeneland, but muscle memory is so important. These are athletes. They're equine athletes, but they're athletes, and I just think I like to see works on the surface they're going to compete on coming into it.
Meanwhile, 9-5 favorite on a horse who's done this 4 times already in the afternoon and chased some real good ones. Most notably, as we talked about, Champagne winner Jack Christopher, who he was in front of at the midpoint of that race at Saratoga in his second start. He will get Lasix here after it looked like he may have stopped pretty badly with an issue that could resolve today. So he's the 9-5 favorite, where the public is leaning here. And this 9-horse outside, this other Steve Asmussen runner, who was 16-1 first time out, he is taking some money in the board.
He's taking some money. The addition of Lasix after showing high speed, going 7 furlongs, a tough debut distance, and he stopped. Now the Lasix, leads you to believe that they've, maybe found something that the Lasix could help or alleviate, if you will. Gets a good outside draw and should be in a forward position. You and I both, I think, had some interest at a huge price on the board here in the 8, Evs Sherman. This is an Arkansas bred. We talked about it yesterday. There were 150 Arkansas breds in the 2019 fall crop. So you have a much smaller gene pool to compete against. This horse is at Oaklawn in Arkansas. They run a steady diet of Arkansas, restricted Arkansas bred races. Why is this horse in a open maiden race where he has to take on a much larger gene pool, and he's coming off of 5 furlongs in a minute out of the gate, which means he was capable of going each furlong in roughly 12 seconds. That's a very sharp workout for a horse that's taking absolutely no money.
That's surprising, too. He was 6-1 morning line, 20-1 now. There he is on the screen, the 8, son of DeStoops. Obviously, they think Connections must think he has the ability. They want to find out. We'll see. But you want to go after that bigger purse money.
Well, it's for a trainer that's very, successful. A guy who wins races, knows how to win races. So he's a good manager, not just a good horseman. So to me, that speaks to the fact that, hey, we got a horse that's good and he's ready to run. We're not worried about, waiting for an Arkansas bred race.
We're set for the 6th. Starts the pick 4. Let's go to Vic Stauffer for the call.
Skyline. Evs Sherman. Last to load. Bet he's ready. They're at the post. They're off. Good start for Back to Normal and Bet He's Ready. Evs Sherman and Mamzouche close up. Then comes At the Rail Maasai Warrior with Robert's Ghost and Skyline, followed by Treaty, and the trailer is Deputy Connect. Up the backstretch, and the leader is next. Is Back to Normal, 3/4 of a length. In front of Evs Sherman in second. Bet He's Ready races in third. 2 from the front. Mamzouche is at the rail. Treaty is 5th in the blue. About 4 from the front. 2 in front of Robert's Ghost. Another 3 back to Skyline. Then comes Maasai Warrior. He's double digits behind. Deputy Connect is the trailer. And here comes a big run on the outside from Bet He's Ready to challenge. Back to Normal has the lead. Bet He's Ready on the move in second. These two now a length in front of Evs Sherman. At the rail, Mamzouche Back to Normal turns away. Bet He's Ready and leads by a full 2 lengths. Mamzouche going to move through from the inside and challenge. Here's Mamzouche moving up. Back to Normal, a 16th out. Mamzouche into second and closing. Back to Normal. Mamzouche getting closer. Back to Normal. Mamzouche back to normal. Back to Normal beat Mamzouche. Bet He's Ready and Deputy Connect flew for 4th.
I'm still here, says Ricardo Santana Jr. teaming up with Mike Maker. The experience of the field. 5th time out. Maiden breaking win. Broke sharp here.
Broke sharp, had run of the race. Keep an eye on the 2-horse down on the rail. This is a horse, Ramon Vasquez. Watch, he's going to think about trying to come out here. He stops, starts to break momentum a little, thought about altering course, went back to the inside and finished resolutely. Just a little bit of tentative action there. I don't know that he was going to get to the winner, but it certainly slowed down his forward momentum a little bit. But Back to Normal. Well, seeing Ricardo Santana in the winner's circle on this steady basis is Back to Normal.
Indeed it is. As the favorite here for Mike Maker, Paradise Farms, and a 2-year-old son of Liam's Map. And impressive here in his 5th start.
I have to say, watch for the 8-horse Evs Sherman back against Arkansas breds because he ran extremely well today. He was part of the pace, finished 4th.
Back to New York. We have the Nightcap still to come. Going to close out this Sunday card here in New York with a New York bred maiden claiming event, $25,000 tag. 6 furlong sprint. It is the 12 logical favorite in this spot. Ran for state bred maiden 40 last start, now drops down to 25. That was the dirt debut last out. Ran a good third place effort against a horse who went gate to wire on the front end.
Yeah, he ran very well that day. And, you know, Steve Asmussen, Hall of Fame trainer, Toby Sheets, his assistant in New York, does a terrific job. Very logical, particularly with the outside post. Should get into the race the right way.
There's Mr. 1000.
Or, as we know him affectionately, as Mr. Cheerful. Me and Gary are very good friends. I could tease him like that.
Did you ride a lot for him?
I did. Actually, one of the last horses I rode for him was a horse owned by Steve Bick, trained by Gary. His name's escaped me at the moment. Got beat in neck. Gary still says it's because I was riding with a broken neck. I still think I rode him very well.
Post break coming up for this finale. And there is the man who just recently notched the 1,000th win of his career. There, Gary Siaka. And it came almost 40 years to the day. Long time coming, and a nice moment for him. Got emotional. You interviewed him actually after that win, didn't you?
Yeah, and I was actually taken off guard by him getting emotional. He, you know, not a guy that wears his heart on his sleeve normally. He's more intent on you know, kind of giving you the business and, you know, always, you know, kind of toying with you and poking you a little bit. But nah, listen, Gary's been doing it a long time. I go back when he was, you know, a groom, and that's how long we've known each other.
Had a big win in that Thunder Rumble as well, with Lobster winning and beating a very good field in that victory last weekend.
Man, Lobster, he was good. Clawed his way to victory. It's getting late. It's late in the week.
Oh, boy. The Migisms. What are we going to get late in the show? Here is Crock of Gold. Riders up here in a moment. So this race, look, Majestic Tiger, 1 start on dirt. That race probably good enough to win in here. Jack's Dream, too, has only had 1 start on dirt. It was meant for turf. He could improve for George Weaver. You get Kendrick Carmouche. There's just not a lot of form. You have first-time starter in the 2 Bellboy, who's taking no money. The Dam, of the 5 runners she's produced, 1 for 34 combined.
Yeah, not exactly a prolific producer there. You know, a horse that I thought had a little bit of a crazy look was the 6 Grey Quest at a big price. You know, this is a horse
I'm with you there.
Horse that has speed, showed speed going 7 furlongs, wound up running at Penn National, where again showed good speed. Now gets back with New York breds, dropping into maiden claiming against New York breds for the first time.
Yeah, Bullet Drill coming out of that performance as well. We'll take a look at the 2. This is the first-time starter. We talked about the Dam hasn't produced a whole lot. Pat Reynolds and Jose Ortiz.
Yeah, the fact that he reaches out for Jose Ortiz, I think, is a sign of confidence. Usually look for the better riders there, but taking no money, really.
Kisses for Val just ran 3rd at this condition.
Yeah, it ran okay at this level last time. Horse that's shown speed at times.
Crock of Gold for Gary Siaka.
Yeah, it's going to have to improve. You know, all his races are very similar. He's going to have to get better.
Tough to make a case for Napoleon Complex.
Yeah, it really is. Another horse that just doesn't seem like he's quite fast enough.
Short on talent.
Yes.
Great Quest. Speed and backed up last time out. But the horse who finished 2nd in there came back to win at the level with a 53 buyer.
I think this horse is interesting at a big price.
War Novel, Orlando Noda.
Yeah, a horse that was well beaten 3rd in the same level last time.
Brief Speed from Tough Workout in a start that was meant for the grass, taken off.
Yeah, that doesn't give you a lot of confidence that the last time he was on dirt.
Forest Woodlane, a first-time starter for Chris Englehart.
Yeah, and, you know, the first-timers were looking for the board to help us a little bit. It's not giving us any indication.
I'm surprised. I thought the 10 was a contender in this spot coming in from Finger Lakes.
Yeah, the horse has been running well, maiden allowance at Finger Lakes, and he's quick. He's going to put himself in the game.
Majestic Tiger, this is the 8-5 favorite.
Makes a lot of sense. I understand why this horse is the favorite and should sit a good trip outside some other speed.
Unlikely, well named in this spot.
Yeah, it's unlikely.
Tim Burrows Sox actually draws in from the also eligible list here for David Donk.
Horse that showed improved speed last time and adds blinkers but still going to have to improve.
Here's out of the breach, the 11, Rudy Rodriguez.
Yeah, out of the breach. You know, for a horse that's run 7 times, still acting kind of green and silly with the pony, you don't like to see that.
He didn't run all that bad, though, against this same level of competition last time out. That's a huge price on him, certainly to get a piece of it at 28 to 1. And a look at Jack's Dream, Kendrick Carmouche, George Weaver. That's the 13 at 5 to 1. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
Now, I'm going to chalk it out here in the last with the favorite. That's Majestic Tiger. I think he was a little bit compromised in that last start for 40, chasing wide, big, strong horse. It's quite nicely with the rest of his competition, but sometimes when it comes to my job, I like to look at the first-time starters. There's 2 in here. We'll take a look at number 2, Bellboy, who will occupy that inside stall in the gate. And while he looks well turned out from a, I don't know, from just his trainer's point of view, and that he's got a rich hydrated coat, he's well conditioned, he's just a very awkwardly put together animal. There's just not much athleticism in the way that he is put together. So we do see Jose Ortiz behind the gate right now with the assistant starters. I'm not really sure what's going on at the moment, but let's move on as we'll take a look at number 9, Forestwood Lane. Kind of like this one, a little bit more compact, looks as though he should have a bit of speed, though he might be distance challenged because he's a little bit more of that quarter horse frame, just seems to have a little bit more of a shorter stride as they're beginning to load here. The other horse I thought was interesting was number 3, taking some money, Kisses for Val. Best he's looked, coming in off the best effort he's put forth, gets back on a fast track yet again. I think he was the other alternative to your favorite, Greg.
Maggie thinks he's 8 to 1. He just stepped in. 7 to 5 favorite, though. Price even shorter now on Majestic Tiger, the 12, in this finale on our Sunday card here from New York. Of course, the feature's still to come from Oaklawn. Got a lot more coming up from Hot Springs. John Imbrial with the call to close things out here in South Ozone Park.
Waiting for a tough workout, unlikely, and Tamburo Sox. They're all in. And they're off. Jack Stream away well. There goes Tough Workout to take the lead. Tough Workout is in front. And the Gray Quest, is racing in second. On the extreme outside is Tamburo Sox, who is now moving up. And then comes Hangout. Jack Stream is now back running in 5th. War Novel is in 6th as Majestic Tiger gains ground on the outside from 7th. And then it is Kisses for Val next in 8th, followed by Crock of Gold in 9th. Napoleon Complex is next in 10th, followed by Forestwood Lane in 11th. Unlikely is on the outside, next in 12th. And then farther back is Out of the Breach, and way out of it is Hangout. The quarter went in 22 and 1/5 seconds. It is Tamburo Sox on the outside and Tough Workout on the inside. Tough Workout down at the rail. Tamburo Sox is on the outside with Majestic Tiger racing in 3rd, and then War Novel in 4th as they hit the 8th pole. It is Tough Workout and Tamburo Sox with Majestic Tiger gaining ground on the outside. Here comes Majestic Tiger up on the outside to take over the lead in deep stretch, and Majestic Tiger is the winner. Then Tamburo Sox and Tough Workout.
Majestic Tiger had a little bit of work to do in the stretch, but gets to the wire first at 3-2. Steve Asmussen, Jose Lizcano.
Yeah, just a horse that got outfooted early, came with that long, steady run. Keep an eye on him as he turns for home. He's got about 4 or 5 lengths to make up here. The 2 horses on the lead really kind of slugged it out from the jump. That's a Tough Workout, and the 15 Tamburo Sox. Watch him ring his tail here. Jose Lezcano's going to get after him with the riding crop. And when he rings his tail right in there, he's kind of like, I'm not crazy about that. And then he kind of switched out to the left when he went to a left-handed crop and to the right. Now, watch when he changed holds a little bit and he kind of lightened up a little bit on him. The horse dropped his head and went on. That early pace duel took its toll the last eighth of a mile. They came home the last furlong in about 13 and 4/5 seconds.
How about a 21-1 shot in second, over 8-1, over 33-1. This superfecta is going to be pretty tasty if you had it, with a favorite on top at 3-2.
Yeah, and he needed every bit of the length of the stretch to get there. Tamburo Sox really improved speed with the blinkers and hung around, really hung on gamely after an intense duel with tough workout. Majestic Tiger, homebred for Bloom Racing. Jeff Bloom, always nice when you own a winner, even nicer when you've bred that winner.
We talked about that 11 for Rudy Rodriguez. At least to get a piece of it was way too big a price. 33-1 gets fourth place money in here. 3-2 favorite though. Majestic Tiger with a victory to close out the card. We're going to look back to the garland of roses on the Saturday card and a very impressive, improving 4-year-old filly for Charlie Baker. Glass ceiling.
Good Magic's in front. Good Magic pulls away from Solomini. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Good Magic to the front of the field in the Toyota Bluegrass to win it.
The champ is back. Good Magic in a good-looking performance.
800,000, 75, 875, 8.5. Pete, 775,000. Thank you.
You don't have to be a multi-millionaire to get into this game. You can have a few $1,000s and have fun with it. But with the bonds, you're actually going to win. I've had the opportunity to win multiple races. In fact, this year I won 2 times in one day, which is almost unheard of to be able to do. This is going to happen with them. You will get into the winner's circle in Saratoga. You will walk that horse in, and you will stand there, look at the crowd, and the bonds will take you there and get you into that winner's circle. And it won't cost you a lot of money.
It's a domineering display by the ultra-talented McKenzie.
McKenzie Preservationist, Vino Rosso and Yoshida. McKenzie's in front.
McKenzie, they've done it. McKenzie has it by 2.
It's McKenzie in a dominant performance. Pure class in the Malibu.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS1. Thanks for being with us on this Sunday afternoon from South Ozone Park, New York. Program brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Majestic Tiger, red cap, Jose Lezcano going to work here.
Yeah, again, horse, I don't think he was crazy about the riding crop, kind of switched lanes, flagged his tail a bit. Jose's going to slow down a little bit here. Watch him throw reins out. He's throwing some holds there. The horse kind of responded to that and got up. And the pace duel took its toll, on the 4:15 Tamburo Sox in the 8. Tough workout. But Majestic Tiger reports home as your favorite. $5. Jose Lezcano with another win, riding very well right now.
Yeah, he's having a great meet here. Pick 5, modest $260. Pick 6, $690. Let's take a look at the follow along in this pick 5 sequence this afternoon. Started with a favorite, Pier 40, biggest price in the sequence there. Yeah, 4-1. But still get you back $260.
Yeah, not a very tough sequence.
4 of the 5
either,
are favorites.
Yeah, and still for, 260. And Pier 40 made a lot of sense, especially the way the race was run with the amount of speed signed on.
Back to Oaklawn, and we'll move on to race 7. 6-furlong sprint allowance optional claiming field, 9-5 favorite. That's the 4 Tempt Fate. Florent Giroux winds up here coming in from Delta Downs 5 for 8 on this racetrack at Oaklawn.
Yeah, horse that's shown a fondness for the racing surface at Oaklawn Park. No doubt about that. Kind of thought the horse inside of him was kind of interesting as well. Young Bull, who's been in very good form at Delta Downs and also has shown an affinity for the surface.
Yeah, the figures I looked at, that horse was a contender, as was the 2 next door at 17-1, coming in from Indiana Grand, Supercharger.
And again, I think this is one of the difficulties or one of the challenges, if you will, for handicapping Oaklawn, particularly in the meet. Which form do you rely on more? What jurisdiction do you give more respect to? And it kind of sorts itself out after a little while, like, well, horses coming out of that place actually run well here. The form holds up. We've seen it last year. I saw it, and I'm seeing it again this year. Remington Park, horses coming out of Remington seem to do well at Oaklawn. And
it's sort of the big, see riders up, by the way, sort of an X factor in this race. What do you do with Man in the Can? Shocking to see him at 9-1 on the board right now, the 6, because sprinting, he was right behind Tempt Fate, the 4, who's your big favorite. But then they tried to stretch him out a little longer, and he struggled in that race off the bench. Then they tried grass, getting back to sprinting, where he's been very successful. 9-1 is a big overlay.
It's a very big overlay. Do you think maybe his last 2 races kind of muddy his form up a little bit, dirty it up? Yeah. One was on turf, and then, one was going long. He ran okay going long the first time. It's always been my contention. Horses that don't really want to go long actually do it better the first time they're asked to do it.
He had put together, he'd actually won a stake going along at Oaklawn at this racetrack back in his 3-year-old campaign. For a moment, they were considering some much bigger races. He went in the Bluegrass against Art Collector and Swiss Skydiver. So horses won over $290,000. But Tempt Fate, even when he was sprinting and running well, Tempt Fate was getting the better of him, the 4.
Yeah, and Tempt Fate has, created a gaudy record when he's with Arkansas Breds, and that's ultimately at Oaklawn Park, so that's why those 5 victories at Oaklawn. I think that's part of the reason for it. Same thing with Young Bull. I mean, this is a race restricted to Arkansas Breds, but they've run very well out of town.
And you have a horse, another one, coming from out of town, the 10 Heritage Park from Prairie Meadows. He's won 4 of his last 5. He is quick as well, and he comes from out of town, but he's won 4 times here at Oaklawn.
And again, against restricted company, he's been very, very good. And I think you got to read into that. Again, we talk about just racing against a smaller gene pool. There's less of the Arkansas Breds. The 2019 crop was 150 foals. It's generally around that every year.
Here is Goodnight Archie. He's been off since March at the meet,
where he won by a nose in a hard-fought duel against maiden Arkansas Breds.
Supercharger, one of these runners coming in from out of town from Indiana Grand, who I think has numbers that fit against this group, and he is quick early.
He's quick. I mean, he might be the quickest of the quick here.
Here's Young Bull, who you were enticed by.
And Young Bull's versatile. He can be out part of the pace and don't go too fast, but he's also rallied from off the pace.
All 5 of Tempt Fate's wins have come here at this racetrack. The last 4 times he's been here, he's won.
Yeah, he's really got a gaudy record at Oaklawn Park. Over $376,000 of his $377,000 earnings are at Oaklawn Park.
Here's Dusty Hill, 20-1. John Cordy won the feature yesterday.
John Court's still getting it done. A horse that might have it a little trouble on the front end. There's a lot of pace here.
Man in the Can. We talked about him, that some of the backlash sprinting, getting back to doing what he does best.
Yeah, his last 2 races might have dirtied his form up a little bit, but I think 8-1 is a generous price on him.
Jay's hand-me-down went by at 20-1 on the board, and here's Bandit Point.
Bandit Point, a horse that will be closing from off the pace. He'd like to see them go very fast early.
Heritage Park, here's this speedster who's a 4-time winner at Oaklawn.
Another horse that's part of the pace. And these are horses that are legitimate horses. It's not like they're cheap speed, and that's when you usually get a hot contested pace.
5:01 last start. He beat the favorite Tempt Fate, although it was off the bench for Tempt Fate.
He's got the right style in a race laden with speed at a big price.
Mo Betta just claimed out of a $40,000 claiming race at Churchill.
Yeah, and he competed at Oaklawn last winter against Arkansas Breds. It took him, though, till he gets a maiden 40 to handle him, and he gets a tough post.
Good group in this Arkansas bred sprint. Let's go to Gary Stevens.
Yeah, guys, I've got a great Oaklawn Park has put us at a great vantage point right here, right where the horses enter the paddock area, the track identifier, checking their microtrips with the scanner to make sure they've got the right horse over here. So I get to see these horses walk towards me, watch how they're behaving, and check out their looks. And you know, the two favorites, they were standouts as far as looks go. Number 4, Tempt Fate, who's made over $350,000. This person, for these Arkansas breds, is $101,000. They run for a lot of money here, and well deserved. The breeding program here has really improved over the last several years. And then the number 10, Heritage Park. He's made over $200,000. He looked awesome. Big, strong horse, the same as Tempted Fate. So they're the horses to beat, no doubt. They're two war horses that show up pretty much every time. Horse I'm going to talk about a little bit here. He's 19-1 on the board right now. Goodnight Archie, Giovanni Franco aboard. And listen, this horse, all he's done is break his maiden. He started 3 times, but he ran a fast speed figure on the figures that I use. They're actually looking for a one other than race, but they said he was fit and ready to run. They were upset when they drew the one post position. Tough spot for a horse that's only run 3 times. But hey, he's run fast enough to get a piece of this race if he fires. First time out since March of last year. All 3 of his races have been here at Oaklawn Park. So, you know, this is a wide open race. You take the 2 favorites. If something goes wrong with either one of them, this is a wide open event, guys.
It is indeed, but right now Public staying with a horse who's a multiple stakes winner on this racetrack. That's the 4 Tempt Fate, now back down to 8-5 on that runner for Carl DeVille with Florent Giroux.
Yeah, and listen, we understand why he's taking money. Florent Giroux, top rider. This is a horse that's been very successful there.
Let me ask you, though, are you concerned about that last race? I mean, 501 handled him pretty easily, but it was off the bench for Tempt Fate. We hadn't seen him since late May. Do you give him a pass?
I give him a pass. I'll forgive any horse one bad race as much as I won't coronate a champion off of one good race, right? You got to kind of look at it, and to me it feels like they used that race at Delta Downs to shake the ring rust off, get him to optimum fitness, brought him in here with this in mind. Now, you know, last time that a condition race at Delta is not going to have a $101,000 purse like an Arkansas bred race is here at Oaklawn when you're facing, again, a smaller gene pool. I do think there's alternatives here. I think Man in the Can is way too big a price. He's starting to come down a little bit now at 7-1. A horse that I would use underneath that I think is kind of interesting is the 9 Bandit Point, who's a deep closer in a race that I think is going to get very hot on the front end.
Including with this guy right here, who I think is a player as well at 7-1. He is very quick. As mentioned, he's won 4 of his last 5. He's a 4-time winner at Oaklawn. And he comes in off back-to-back wins, albeit out of town at Prairie Meadows.
Yeah, and listen, when a horse is in sharp form and they're racing well, you can't discount them. But I also think style-wise, he could be compromised. Again, a lot of speed here.
He is potentially the quickest horse in this field.
Yeah, but at what price? Meaning, you know, if you've got to try to outrun the 2, the 5 has some big speed at times. Do you have anything left in the tank when you're trying to clear these kind of horses?
We'll find out how much has to be used early on from Heritage Park here at 7-1 on the board. This 3-horse Young Bull, you pointed out early on, you were intrigued by and taking a lot of attention on the tote board too. He was 15-1 morning line. He's 6-1 right now. Comes in off a win at Delta, going 7/8 of a mile, but he's not going to be able to do it today the way he won that race. That's a concern.
No, that was a very moderate pace that day. Go back to his start before, going 5 furlongs, where he was just outfooted. They went 22 flat. He was not a part of the pace, but he rallied going 5 furlongs, going 6 back against Arkansas breds with a lot of speed signed on. I just thought he made a lot of sense.
Meanwhile, 7-5, Tempt Fate remaining the horse to beat in here. had been off since the spring, so late May, came back November 10th, and at least he was starting to make up some ground late in that race. I think it's the bigger concern was he's usually a lot more forward in his races.
Yeah, listen, it's a fair point, but also, does that also speak to trainer intention? You don't have a horse quite as sharp. You didn't hone him for that particular spot, so maybe they're just a little bit on the dull side, especially if you're using a race as a prep race heading to another race.
There's the 9, Bandit Point. He would love to see a hot pace up front. $360,000 in earnings for this 6-year-old. There's the speedy Heritage Park. Kenny Smith, Ken Tohill team up.
I just think this race is so intriguing that there are certain horses here at better prices that I think you can take a stab and try to beat the favorite at 7-5.
And, as we mentioned, it was off the bench. Could be a totally different scenario today. But 501, the 11, who just beat the favorite last time out, he's on the board at 12-1. Seemingly, that was one of the best races he's ever run as a 7-year-old. So odds of him backing that up again may be slim, but we'll see. Maybe just in good form right now. Another one who would benefit from a hot pace up front, which he's probably going to get.
Yeah, I can't imagine they're not going to go very fast in the front end. Now, maybe it won't matter, and the best horse is just the best horse, but I've kind of leaned towards horses that I think can close that are legitimate. And those horses are the 3, Young Bull, the 6 Man in the Can, and the 9. Or excuse me, the 9 Bandit Point.
Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're off. Good Night Archie and Dusty Hill, Heritage Park, and Tempt Fate. These 4 race out. Supercharger not quick enough. He shuffles back. Young Bull is next. Then 501, Mo Betta, Bandit Point, and Man in the Can. And the trailer is J.E.'s Hand Me Down. Heritage Park and Good Night Archie 1-2 into the far turn. They're a length in front of Tempt Fate, who takes back and sits third. Just outside of that one is Dusty Hill, and now Heritage Park is about to clear off, and there he goes. Heritage Park is a length and a quarter in front. 2.5 back to Supercharger. Then comes Young Bull. 3.5 back to 501, Man in the Cannon, Bandit Point, J.E.'s Hand Me Down. Distant trailer, Mo Betta. The leader is Heritage Park. Heritage Park. Now Tempt Fate comes after him in second. He's within a length. To the outside, and a Supercharger in a third. At the rail goes Good Night Archie, Heritage Park, and Tempt Fate. And here is Tempt Fate to take over the lead. He's a neck in front of Heritage Park. Bandit Point is absolutely flying, and if he can get through, he might be the one. Here comes Bandit Point. It is Tempt Fate, Bandit Point to get up and win. Bandit Point beat Tempt Fate. Young Bull, 501.
Bandit Point, Kelsey Har, Robert Klein team up, wins second off the bench, getting by the favorite Tempt Fate for the win.
Gotta go back and watch this replay. You want to talk about a seriously good ride delivered on Bandit Point. Kelsey Har saved all the ground, was able to pick her way through the field, kind of in a way followed the 3-horse Young Bull, who came out into the stretch and then found the seam, and a horse that wanted to get pace, got the pace, but got a terrific ride to get up for the win. This was as good a ride as you're going to see from a horse, a closing sprinter coming from well off the pace, finding his way through a field.
3 prior times facing Tempt Fate. Bandit Point saw Tempt Fate go get his picture taken. Not today. And Tempt Fate showed up in here as well.
Tempt Fate ran, and he was able to ease back off of a spirited duel, came out into the stretch, had his opportunity. But here came Bandit Point. I mean, really absolutely flawless ride from Kelsey Har. For Robert Klein, somebody who seems like she has a lot of success with. They won with a big price horse opening day or two of the meet too.
That was an impressive finish. What a ride delivered by Kelsey Har. Feature coming up next, Ron Moquette and a very talented 3-year-old filly. Moquette, of course, of Whitmore fame, former Breeders' Cup Sprint winner. This filly, she could be very good. Looking for her 3rd win in a row coming up.
This proven son of A.P. Indy has sired over 50 stakes winners and well over 100 stakes horses. Recent top performers include Search Results, winner of the Grade 1 Acorn Stakes and a hard-fought second in the Kentucky Oaks, plus these standout performers. In the auction ring, his progeny continued to command top dollar. 2-year-olds by Flatter sold up to $625,000. Flatter, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races on FS1. Our program brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. You win this race, cross the wire first. That is not a good sign you want to see.
It's no worse feeling than after winning a race, seeing your number blinking. Even if you feel like you're fine. I didn't see anything, but we didn't have the benefit of the head on. Let's see where she's coming from behind horses. She's in the black cap with the orange or reddish colors. Horse got a white star. She's going to come out here. If there's a foul there someplace, I didn't see it.
So, but it must be that horse when she comes out behind her, claiming. Is that what it is?
Honestly, if that's what it is, I'm a little bit surprised. So horse come out here. I'm really not seeing anything that would warrant a disqualification there. I really, if you're going to claim foul over things like that, you better get a little bit of a better handle on it, I believe.
Unofficially, 9-4-3-11. And it certainly didn't look very egregious.
You know, listen, I'm all for clean riding, and I want to see stewards be strict and consistent. But from what we saw there, I did not see any sort of a foul.
Let's take a look at it from a different angle. See if this tells us a different story.
She's on the rail about 7th or 8th at this point. The 3-horse, Young Bull's going to come out here and actually crossed over a little bit on her there. Now she's going to angle out. She's already clear of the horse behind her, and there's absolutely no contact between her and the 3. That was about as clean and smooth a transition to the outside as you're going to see.
And the 3 never even a hint of having that stride interrupted.
Well, the 3 actually spread the turn more, spread the gap more, and she just took the empty space that was afforded her.
Let's get Gary's thoughts. Gary, what'd you see?
Well, what I'm seeing right now is very interesting. Florent Giroux, who is aboard the number 4 horse, he is unsaddled his horse. Kelsey is aboard the winner, the unofficial winner, I should say. So I think Florent, he was watching the same replay that I am on the Matrix board, and he's like, nothing is going to change here. The 9 horse, they overreacted as far as I'm concerned. when your winner drifts out, the rider, looks like to me, gets a little intimidated and just stops riding. But she was clear when she came out, so I just thought that it was almost entertaining that Florent watched it about 2 times and he unsaddled his horse. So read what you will into that, but I'm going to say no change, guys.
And that's the rider who would be put up as the winner if there were a change in here, so that's telling.
That's very telling. Is there any way, guys, we can go look at that one more time? Can we go back to the top of the stretch? Because I saw something in behind her at the top of the stretch that a horse did steady a little bit. But, again, I didn't think it seemed like a lot. But it wasn't as later in the stretch as I thought it was. Now, keep an eye, the horse right behind her, right there. That rider ran up in behind her. She was actually had her line, was going straight at that point, and that rider kind of ran up into a bad spot and ran up on her heels and had a steady, but he did that to himself. Everything in here is completely clean and within the boundaries of the rules.
And Bandit Point had all the momentum. 3 doesn't look like that horse ever, the run was interrupted.
The only thing is, when the longer an objection or an inquiry takes to adjudicate, usually it means they're going to make a change. And from everything that I've seen, unless I'm not seeing every angle that the stewards have, so it was more around the turn. And this is what is surprising to me. She has position. That angle does not tell you anything that I can really, clearly say about. But I'm also going to say this: if I finish last or well back, I think claiming foul is poor form. I don't know what rider it is. I really, again, we don't have the advantage of all the angles that the stewards have. But you want to have words with the rider afterward and say, hey, you can't do this, and talk to them about it. But to claim foul when you finish 10th, that to me is just poor form.
So that's what it was back there.
It was definitely what happened in the back, because it was just way too clean through the stretch. She couldn't have ridden a better race from the angles that I saw sifting through, and they've taken her down.
Wow.
I would love to see the shot from the hind shot around the turn that warranted this disqualification, because everything I saw, I couldn't see anything that would warrant a change. Again, we don't have the benefit of all the angles that the stewards do. Wow.
And, it was involving that incident back there, because the Bandit Point placed all the way behind that runner who finished near the back of the pack.
Man, I hope we get an opportunity to see what the stewards saw to warrant this disqualification.
We might need to watch this whole race again.
Yeah, and again, we didn't have the benefit of the shots they do around the far turn.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we had a clear line of vision of wouldn't have warranted disqualification. So it obviously happened earlier in the run around the far turn. And again, they didn't put up an inquiry. So this is a rider claiming foul. And I just don't see what you accomplish finishing 10th or 9th and claiming foul.
Yeah, that's interesting. It was not the stewards who said we need to take a look at this. A rider claimed foul.
This was a rider's objection.
Otherwise would not have been looked at. And change made. And now Bandit Point, and tremendous ride from Kelsey Haar, erased here.
Again, when I picked her up coming off the quarter pole and her position she was at, I thought she rode a tremendous race. Again, we didn't have the benefit of what the stewards, so we still haven't.
Sure.
But hopefully we'll get an opportunity to see it, and we can make a more informed judgment on that. But all right, so she comes around this horse here, who she's obviously stopping. And are they saying that? We're not seeing anything that we could say, wow, yes, she shut a horse off, she did something wrong. I didn't see it. I'm sure they have to have another angle, Greg, to be able to make that determination, because you can't make that determination off of that angle.
New order of finish. 4-3-11-2. So the horse who was favored winds up via disqualification, getting the win here. Tempt Fate, Florent Giroux and Cara Deville. Even though Florent had felt, as Gary reported, there was going to be no change, and had unsaddled and walked off.
It's very interesting. You don't see that very often. I'm just, I'm honestly really surprised, and I'm hoping that we get an opportunity to see what the stewards saw, because every angle and every shot that we had, I didn't see anything so egregious.
Is there a moment in your career that stands out? Did you still stings that was an egregious, you felt DQ that was not warranted?
Oh, absolutely. A Silver Squire in Saratoga in 2003 or 4, I forget exactly. A horse that I came inside of 2 horses. I came out around, brushed the horse that was going by him, won the race by 5 lengths. That horse finished second, and they took me down. And I was so incensed, I actually ripped the phone out of the wall in the jockey's room. I smashed it, had words, harsh words for the stewards, was fined heavily, avoided days, and they actually rewrote the wording of the ruling in New York off of that incident, that if it costs the horse a placing, because there was no way it cost the horse a placing. I won by 5 lengths, and Silver Squire was a horse that was very close, near and dear to my heart, a horse I worked with, always a little bit tough getting him to switch leads. And it was a joke of a call. I mean, people were losing their minds over it, and it served nobody. Didn't serve the public, didn't serve, obviously, my interests. But, yeah, that was a day that I actually lost my temper, and I wish I had it back, because I did rip the phone out of the wall in Jock's room and smash it. I think I broke a window and had some choice words for the governing body.
Famous Mig temper. Hey, but maybe because you went that far, though, that helped get that rule change.
Yeah, the rule changed, but now apply that rule with common sense. Yeah, we can't just say every time, well, that horse was well beaten. Sometimes a horse gets plowed or broadsided, and you've got to look at it. You've got to apply these rules with common sense as well.
We're going to take a timeout. We have the feature still to come. Little drama at Oaklawn. We're going to see a talented 3-year-old filly, Sarah Harper, trying to win her 3rd in a row. We're going to take a look back at last weekend. Hollis beating Nashville and doing so in track record time. And Last Samurai, upset winner of the Poinsettia in the rematch against Superstock.
This gleaming chestnut wins by 6 on debut, with the promise of bigger things to come. Justify, he's on a dizzying ascent to greatness.
What do you do when the experts compare you to legends?
Justify has won the Kentucky Derby. He's unstoppable. He won the Preakness. Justify is the 13th Triple Crown winner.
You justify it.
Hello, you've reached the offices of West Point Thoroughbreds. Please leave your name and your number, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Okay, starting to move now. He's 4th. He's on the outside now. He's pressing him now. There's the 1, the 7, and the 6. He's on the lead. There's another horse on the inside of him. He's pulling away. He's going to win this race.
Irish Hill and Dutchess View Stallions proudly standing the ultra-fast, multiple stakes winning son of Uncle Mo, King for a Day, who took the Sub-Martin Stakes at Pimlico in his first start at 3.
King for a Day, who'll rule supreme in the Sir Martin.
And the only horse to outrun 2019 3-year-old champion Maximum Security.
Maximum Security has been defeated. King for a Day by a length.
Sire maker extraordinaire Uncle Mo's King for a Day. Visit IHDVStallions.com to book your mare today.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com.
I'm Liam O'Rourke, the director of bloodstock here at Windstar Farm. I'm here with my friend Constitution.
Constitution up the rail with Javier Castellano.
Constitution is a multiple Grade 1 winner, including the Florida Derby, which he dominated as a 3-year-old. He came back as a 4-year-old to South Florida and won the Dawn Handicap, running a 1:11 buyer.
As they come down to the finish, Constitution and the Dawn.
Constitution is a rising star among all stallions here in Kentucky, and despite that he's a Kentucky bred and a Kentucky sire, he's had a lot of success in New York. Already in his career, he's sired the winners of the Champagne, the Nashua, the Sanford, the Peter Pan, the Travers, and the Belmont. This past year, we welcomed foals by New York superstars such as Kofefi, winner of the Test, and Hot Dixie Chick, who won the Spinaway up in Saratoga. Constitution is emerging as one of the elite sires in Kentucky, and you know what? The best is yet to come.
The half 45 and 3. Glass Ceiling is gobbling up the slop on the outside. Here comes Glass Ceiling, who has now taken over the lead. Call on Mischief has moved into second. Let me take this call. And Sadie Lady, Glass Ceiling with a last to first victory in the Garland of Roses.
Glass Ceiling, she was impressive in that Garland of Roses, which she's won 2 of her last 3 starts. But it's these last 3 starts, she's just gone to a completely different level.
Yeah, she has really matured. I love the way she won this Garland of Roses. She was a little bit slow in the stride. She took a lot of kickback. You can see how covered in mud she is. It kind of backed her off. Dylan Davis had to make a decision midway around the far turn because she was reacting negatively to that kickback. She really wasn't running through it. He wheeled it to the outside, and she picked up her horses so readily and so quickly. Glass Ceiling is in raging form for trainer Charlie Baker.
Good job from Dylan Davis, too. Said she was not loving that kickback, opted to go outside. He had a ton underneath her, and Charlie Baker has done a nice job with this filly. He's won this race now back-to-back years, 3rd win overall. Here is Charlie Baker after the win.
She's maturing as a 4-year-old. I think that's just the thing. She's maturing as a 4-year-old, and the switch went off, and I think she just is on to show that right now.
Were you a little bit nervous, though, in the running of this race early on?
Because speed was the favorite all day, so it's like at the back of the pack, I was figuring, but once she turned for warm, I knew she was going to kick on by.
And Charlie, you've had success. Obviously, you've won great stakes with horses that you've claimed. What do you look for in assessing horses that you might be able to pick up and have this kind of stake success?
Well, I've been watching her for a while. I've been watching her. I've been wanting to claim her. I didn't claim her in Saratoga when they got claimed for 32 because we didn't have enough money in the account. But the first time I get a chance to claim her, and I like the sire, and I'm thinking if we can get a great. Not even a grade, just a stake win or a stake place with her, she might be some residual value to her. So I'm always looking for that residual value. So if we get a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, early 3-year-old, 4-year-old that we can get to run a little bit better than they're running, we might have something. So that's basically what I was looking for with her.
She's been good, and too, the defeat in the last 3 starts, she missed by a head to Lady Rocket, who ran a quicker time in the Go for One win than American Revolution did in the Grade 1 Cigar Mile. How about Constitution? Speaking of the Cigar Mile, continuing a pretty nice recent run with winners. He has sired Glass Ceiling, American Revolution, never surprised, that talented turf runner for Tom Pletcher, continuing to produce on both dirt and turf.
Yeah, the interesting thing too is he really stamps his offspring in so much as they're just very well balanced individuals. You love to see an athlete. Horses come in all different shapes and sizes, but the balance that they possess is what makes them or points them out as athletes, and he throws a very athletic type.
Feature on Saturday at Oaklawn. It was a rematch. Not really many people were talking about it because wasn't much of a showdown when they met in the Arkansas Derby. Last Samurai was 48-1. He was beat 13.5 lengths to Superstock, who won that Grade 1 race that launched him into the Kentucky Derby. Complete reversal this time around.
Well, Last Samurai, I think, is a clear example of a horse that continues to improve. He's just kept maturing. Congratulations to Dallas Stewart, who's just such a good horseman, former assistant to Wayne Lucas. The ageless John Court had momentum. Superstock got out, had his chance. Took him a long time to get over his left lead, and by then the race was pretty much decided.
Winds up runner-up in the rematch here, but yeah, Last Samurai really starting to come around, and Dallas Stewart was trying to get this horse to go a lot longer, 1.5 mile, 1.25 races, where he ran good, but 1 1/16 looked very sharp, beating a Grade 1 winner in the rematch. And now a horse who's amassed over $300,000 in earnings, first stakes win of his career. Earlier in the week, we had the return of a sprinter that a lot of people were very excited to see back, who some thought Had he run in the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he might have won that race. He wound up running on the undercard and running a lights-out effort. This was his 4-year-old return to the races, and he got beat by a horse named Hollis, who looked very impressive. With more on this race, let's go to Gary Stevens.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Nashville's coming out party for the rest of this year, which isn't long, leading into 2022. He ran his race. He showed up. Listen, he had only had 4 races in his career, coming off a year layoff off the bench. But it was Hollis's day. It was his coming out party. He sets a track record in this race. And John Ortiz, he's been having a coming out party for quite a while now. Another young and up-and-coming trainer who started off this meet on fire. But what Hollis does is puts on the show of his life, running 102-1, new track record that was set 30 years ago. And this was no fluke. A lot of times when a racetrack is fast and you see the field all pooled together, beating just a couple of lengths, 3 or 4 lengths, and you can throw a blanket over, you might say that it's a phony time, not for real. This time was for real, and I'm looking forward to seeing Hollis run in the future along with Nashville now that he's got a race under his belt, guys.
How about that? 102 for the 5.5 furlongs, 109 Bayer. By far the best he's ever produced in his life. Yeah. But he's run some big numbers in the past, too. But now maybe a horse as a 6-year-old, he's going to start targeting some of the big stakes, certainly in Hot Springs.
Well, the way he ran this race, you'd have to think so. I mean, he attended the pace. He was, keeping Nashville honest up on the lead. Now, to be fair to Nashville, he hadn't been seen since the day after Christmas in 2020, so it was an extended layoff. And he met a very fresh, in-form horse that just ran. I mean, this was a truly run race. To win by 4.5 lengths, going 5.5 furlongs, that's a true effort. You don't put that much separation on horses in races that short. And then it was almost 3.5 lengths back to the 3rd place finisher that Nashville beat. So I think we had 2 very talented horses, and maybe Hollis caught Nashville. We used maybe 1 from his best, but that was a legitimate race.
And hopefully we'll see. We had a horse who gave us so many good memories and big performances at Hot Springs over many years. Former Breeders' Cup Sprint winner Whitmore. Now maybe this is a new rivalry forming in these sprint races out in Hot Springs with Hollis and Nashville. We shall see. We have the feature coming up next. It is the 8th 6 furlongs in allowance optional claiming field. Sarah Harper, she is 3-5 right now, trying to win her 3rd in a row. She was favored in each of the last 2 when she won convincingly. She's a heavy favorite again. For, speaking of Whitmore, Ron Moquette. Post-parade and the feature when we come back.
The breeding industry is governed by one principle. Performance determines success.
And Constitution has won!
Now, he's earning his stripes by siring stars.
Independence Hall wins the Hagyard Bayette.
American Revolution charging up on the outside. Fireworks in the stretch here in the Cigar Mile. American Revolution has won.
Constitution, a natural-born leader.
Back on America's Day at the Races, the feature coming up in Hot Springs, Arkansas at Oaklawn. Fillies and mares traveling 6 furlongs. Let's go back to that 7th race, and this is that incident that got Bandit Point DQ'd.
You're going to see she's outside of a runner there. I'm not really quite sure it is. And from that angle, obviously something transpired. You saw the horse inside of her take up, looked like he crossed over her heels and maybe even caught a heel there, bobbled. But it's not really definitive. I mean, from that, anything could have happened. The horse inside of her could have stepped out. It's not clear that that horse stepped in.
Yeah. Here's our post spread from the feature, and we're up to the 2 novel Squall for John Ortiz.
Yeah, just a really good race. Novel Squall closer in a race. I would like to see things heat up on the front end.
Sarah Harper trying to make it 3 in a row. She's been a heavy favorite each of the last 2 and again today.
Yeah, a filly that looks like she has the potential to be a very special talent.
Break Curfew, 3-time winner.
And another one that has the ability to stalk, and she's hoping that somebody takes on Sarah Harper early.
It's Perfect Happiness. She's been 2nd in half of her 14 starts.
And if anybody's going to take on Sarah Harper, I think it's Perfect Happiness. She's quick, and she's the one that could have to do the dirty work.
And a Canadian shipper who has won 4 in a row and 8 of her last 11 at 13-1.
Yeah, Winning Habit. Filly's turning back in distance. She's been running in Western Canada, Assinobia Downs. You like horses with a winning habit.
Figures, though, don't appear to match up to what Sarah Harper is capable of, or for that matter, Time Limit. But we'll see.
No, but, you know, it's just kind of interesting that she's turning back in distance. And also, she's been beating what's been put in front of her. Sometimes horses only run as fast as is necessary to get it done.
Well, let's go to Gary. 4 minutes to post here in the feature.
Yeah, listen, guys, I'm of the same feeling as Richie. I don't think that this filly can get beat, Sarah Harper, but they all get beat. We saw that just a couple days ago with Nashville and Hollis. And guess what? The Giant Killer is in here, has a horse in here. John Ortiz, he's a big price, the 2 filly, Novel Squall. It would be a huge surprise if Novel Squall gets up, but his horses have really improved. He's having, like I said, an epic year for him. But Time Limit, if there's going to be an upset, I think that Time Limit, with her experience of 14 races, 4 wins, 4 seconds, 4 thirds, there's going to be an upset. It would be the 1 horse, guys.
Yeah, Time Limit from the rail, Ricardo Santana Jr., Mike Maker. And the last time she was on dirt, it was a race taken off the turf at Saratoga. That figure she earned in that race, very competitive with what Sarah Harper's capable of. Take a look at the favorite, though, 4-5. This is just the 4th start of her career coming up as we're 3 minutes to post in the feature. I think we'll look at it in a moment in here. Those last 2 wins, Mig, by nearly 11 lengths combined.
Yeah, and she's quick. She puts herself in the game. She doesn't need the lead, but she's always in position. She did this on a fast track, then she came back and did it in the mud. And these are legitimate fractions, and you could see the level of confidence that Tyler Gaffleone has in her. I mean, you get inside the 8th pole, he's still just kind of hands and heels, mild urging. She's skipping over the top of the ground. And, you know, I find it interesting that you look at her sire, Vancouver, and what comes to mind immediately is, well, you know, turf, more of a turf-meant sire. Well, he gets 16% with his dirt sprint winners as opposed to 11% with his turf sprint winners. He gets 20% with dirt rooters as opposed to 14% with turf rooters. So obviously he's throwing horses that can run on the dirt, and this filly's just very talented, very tactical, very professional.
And, you know, that was on a muddy track, that performance we showed you. She was equally impressive on a fast track the start before.
Yeah, well, that's it. I don't think she's a filly that's just athletic. She doesn't need to carry a surface with her. You know, the mare's had one other foal. That was a winner as well. So she's a producer. And, you know, we talk about it's always nice to win races. Well, this is a homebred. William Sparks and William Patterson. Ron Marquette actually trained this horse's dam as well, Martz. So they kind of have familiarity with the families. I'm interested in seeing how she does. Listen, Time Limit's fast. She's a daughter of Bustin' Stones. Bustin' Stones has been perennially one of the better sires in the state of New York, a horse who gets consistent, hard-knocking horses. They all run, they find their level, and they're honest, and they run. Perfect Happiness is fast. Is there a legitimate closer in here that they could set the table for? Well, Miss Imperial, as much speed as she's shown in Western Canada, will be coming from off the pace because she's turning back in distance. Does she have a chance, the 5-year-old mare, to maybe pick up the pieces? I'm not seeing it. I'm just asking, I guess, the question to kind of flesh it out.
Figures that she's run, they just don't seem to be in the same kind of ballpark as Time Limit or Sarah Harper. We'll see. Setup means everything, obviously, in a race. Time Limit, even early on in her career, when she started out on dirt, she was running really good races out here in New York.
Yeah, and a filly that always shows good speed from the inside. I love when we see New York breds have success around the country. The New York breeding program's gotten so strong, and it's just getting better and better all the time. And, Time Limit, Mike Maker, he's had her whole career, and she's always been quick.
17-1 on this one here. Another one who'd love to see a hot pace up front. Big price. But we'll see. You like to see these horses that get you excited continue to go on and put some streaks together and see if you have a potential star. We'll see if Sarah Harper can take that next step.
Well, it's really nice, too, about the way Sarah Harper's being handled by Ron Marquette, the connections, is the progression. After the way she broke her maiden, you almost in this day and age expects to see her in a stake someplace. The fact that she got into another allowance race, wins another race, it builds her up physically, it builds her up mentally. Horses are just like any other athlete. Confidence is big. I go back to it. They knew Mike Tyson was going to be champion of the world when he was 16 years old. He still had about 20 fights with people that he was just better than to continue to build his psyche and his physicality before he started fighting the best of his division. I like to see that progression with horses. So the fact that Sarah Harper's now running in her second consecutive allowance race off a very nice maiden win, I think there's a lot to like. I like to see horses handled that way in that progression.
Well, and you'll like to see Miss Imperial make this trip too from Canada. She deserves the chance to try and win outside of where she has been running and tackle better company, and she's going to get that opportunity here and see if she stacks up.
Yeah, and she, listen, I agree with you about her buyer speed figures of life, but she might get the setup. And coming off of longer races, they go too quick. She's honest. She can make them pay.
Sarah Harper, the 3 stepping into the gate right now for this featured race on the Sunday card from Oaklawn, trying to make it 3 straight for trainer Ron Marquette. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. Time Limit and Sarah Harper break very well. Perfect Happiness away a sharp third. Miss Imperial is fourth and break curfew, and the trailer is Novel Squall. Sarah Harper flies to the lead, and she'll cross and clear from Time Limit in second. Sarah Harper a tight length. Time Limit is second and won't let her cross and clear. Not yet, as Sarah Harper only leads by a half length. Time Limit's going to come through and try to attack in second. Meanwhile, Perfect Happiness is third and less than 2 from the front. Those 3 are 4 lengths in front of Miss Imperial and Novel Squall. Break curfew is 12 lengths behind, and now Sarah Harper is clearly in front. Sarah Harper to the quarter pole. Perfect Happiness tugs up outside of her, and here's Perfect Happiness within a half length of the lead. Time Limit is back in third and now 2.5 behind. Sarah Harper is confronted by Perfect Happiness, and Perfect Happiness has put her neck in front. Sarah Harper is racing in second. Time Limit is third, then Novel Squall. Perfect Happiness now a length and a half in front. Sarah Harper and Time Limit battle for second. Perfect Happiness in front. Perfect Happiness beat Time Limit. Sarah Harper third, Novel Squall fourth.
Perfect Happiness, the win. Florent Giroux, Brad Cox, and the heavy favorite winds up third in this race.
got everything her own way on the lead. Sarah Harper was going comfortably. Perfect Happiness was under a very strong rating hold by Florent Giroux. Maybe that was the tack they needed because this affiliate's been showing high speed, but he got her to settle just off the pace. The one time limit was put in a little bit of a compromising position inside of Sarah Harper. When she got out, she finished well. A very honest effort for the daughter of Bustin' Stones, but no excuses for Sarah Harper. She was very comfortable on the lead, and the winner was never far away from her and just outran her.
That puts a halt to any dreams of a win streak after those real impressive back-to-back victories. Perfect Happiness, 7 seconds, 14 career starts. Picks up just the third win of her career in start number 15 here for Brad Cox, Fleury Racing, and as you mentioned, Florent Giroux. Doug O'Neill, he's got a Derby contender with a son of one of his Derby winners. We'll tell you all about it next.
Spun to run. In the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, he defeated a loaded field that included multiple Grade 1 winners Omaha Beach and Improbable. His brilliant speed figures were among the fastest of any 3-year-old at a mile or more. And he hails from the legendary Danzig sire line. Multiple graded stakes winner, millionaire, Breeders' Cup champion, Spun to Run, standing at Gainesway.
American Grade 1 winners in 2017 than any stallion since Mr. Prospector. That earned Medaglia d'Oro his best ever book of mares. He sired more $1 million yearlings in the past 5 years than any other stallion. Then covered an even better book in 2020. It all means Medaglia d'Oro has an incredible crop of 3-year-olds for 2022. Medaglia d'Oro. Think you've seen it all? You ain't seen nothing yet. Darling, just imagine.
Need help in finalizing your picks for the next race? Check out the Track Master selections provided by Equibase on every U.S. thoroughbred and harness track on Naira Bets. Use these selections to get quick expert advice from professionals in the business. Check out the thumbs up graphic next to the pick and the wager pad and scroll down for more details on the horse. Track Master selections available on Naira Bets and the Naira Bets app.
We're back on America's Day at the Races. Brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Everyone excited to see Sarah Harper back in action. She was an odds-on favorite. She gets passed here in the stretch by Perfect Happiness and winds up third.
Yeah, and honestly, no excuses. Yeah, she set fairly quick first quarter, 21-4, but the winner and the runner-up were both in very close proximity to her. Perfect Happiness was well rated, a filly that's been showing high speed. Maybe changing tactics helped, but Florent Giroux had her traveling beautifully in the bridle when he set her down. Sarah Harper just had no resistance to her. Time limit, I thought, ran very gamely to be second after extracting herself from rail position, getting around to the outside. But make no mistake, Perfect Happiness at $15 over time limit. And Sarah Harper, your 3-5 favorite, checks in third.
Well done to those connections. So much for the second-itis with that filly. Nightcap to close out the Sunday card at Oaklawn. This money-earned allowance, mile and a 16th, an absolute love. One of several contenders in here. She is trying to make it 3 in a row. 6-year-old mare in very sharp form right now.
Yeah, and another very competitive race. I look at these races at Oaklawn, and I'm always intrigued. I just always find 3 or 4 different ways I think I can go. You're trying to find value. This is a meet you can make money. It takes a lot of work, handicapping conundrums, if you will. But one thing I noticed, too, Kelsey Har has a mount in this race. And the only advice I can give to young riders, when things don't go your way, and even if you feel like there was an injustice served, You got to put it behind you, and you've got to go forward. You can't dwell on negative. You've got to be strong enough to have that constitution to stay even. Don't get too high when it's good. Don't get too low when it's bad.
Well, it's never too early to start looking ahead to that Kentucky Derby Trail. We're just a few days away, really, from turning the page to 2022 in the 3-year-old division on the road to that first Saturday in May. And out west, Doug O'Neill won a derby with one of his derbies with Nyquist. This is a son of Nyquist for Doug O'Neill, who ends Bob Baffert's 7-year win streak in the Los Al Futuri.
Keep an eye on slow down Andy here. He loses complete focus. He hit the front. He got to wandering. He turned his head to the outside. He wanted to step in. He kind of pulled up, waiting on competition. Horses are herd animals. Some have a much stronger pull to be next to horses. And then finally, the last 16th, he kind of leveled off and reasserted himself and went on. Big, long striding son of Nyquist, who made a long extended run from the far turn. And I've always contended horses that win the Derby can make 2 distinct runs or make a long extended run. So slow down Andy. Throws his hat in the ring, if you will.
Joins this impressive list. How about this? Doug O'Neill wouldn't even have had him in that race. His owner, J. Paul Redham, they have a long connection together, just said, let's take a shot. Doug wanted to run him in the King Gloria Stakes for a $100,000 purse. Winds up winning $180,000 as the winner's share of that grade 2.
Well, sometimes you'd rather be lucky than smart, right? But this is a horse, though. I love his stride. I love the way he did it. Now, just so everybody's clear out there, thoroughbreds, all thoroughbreds, racehorses, turn a year older on New Year's Day officially. Now, their birthdays might not be until January, February, March sometimes later, April, May foals. I always thought the best time to have a foal was towards the end of March. They're not in the throes of the worst part of winter. They can get outside more, get to pick grass more, so not in the harshest point of winter. And you go back to the history of it, horses like Secretariat were born in the latter part of March.
Things going to start heating up very, very quick when we turn the page to 2022 on that road to the Triple Crown. We're going to step aside for a timeout. Nightcap coming up from Hot Springs, as is the story of the connection with America's pastime in Hot Springs, Arkansas. We'll have that story when we come back.
Warfront. This son of Danzig ranks among the world's elite sires, ranked #1 by percentage of stakes winners, graded stakes winners, and Grade 1 winners. No stallion has a better strike rate. Recent top runners include Group 1 winner Homesman, graded stakes winners Master of Foxhounds, Ancient Rome, and Bombard. Plus Annapolis, who became his sire's 100th stakes winner. In the auction ring, his progeny continued to command top dollar. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back at America's Day at the Races, program brought to you in part where you can play it all, Naira Bets. Go to NairaBets.com or download the Naira Bets app.
For a time, as many as 350 Major League players converged in Hot Springs, Arkansas each spring to prepare for the upcoming season.
Ownership felt they needed to boil out the alcoholic microbes. Hot Springs was known as a place that had therapeutic waters, and they came for that reason. And then the ball players turned out to love it because they really not only did get in shape, but they had a great time.
By the 1930s, nearly half of all Major League teams had, at some point, used Hot Springs as their spring training base. Plus, about half of all prominent ball players visited Hot Springs individually. Babe Ruth used to visit Hot Springs to work his way into shape, a place to prepare for spring training. In fact, the Babe even used the hot healing waters to recover from influenza. This wall at the Gangsters Museum of America in Hot Springs represents the long list of Hall of Fame baseball greats who trained here. This winter is a reminder of why baseball eventually migrated away from Hot Springs. The rain proved to be a disruption, and sometimes even the cold and snow wiped out valuable practice time. Although by the 1930s, most teams moved to Florida and Arizona, Hot Springs would continue to be a destination for players to work out before joining their Major League squads for decades to come.
Such an interesting history in this little town in Hot Springs, Arkansas. We talked about on previous shows on the program with the gangsters that used to reside there in the early 30s, and now with this rich tradition of baseball as well back at that same time.
I just love it. I love the history of the town. It's so reminiscent of Saratoga in so many ways. You know, we have the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame in Saratoga, but you go out at night into the town in Hot Springs or Saratoga, what's the conversation about? It's about what went on at the racetrack that day, what's going to go on tomorrow, and it's got that same feel to it and that sense of history. And I, you know, having done the tour there at the Gangster Museum and have seen that wall with all the players that made it to Cooperstown, the Hall of Fame, it's just a really great, fun town to go to, and the racing continues to deliver.
Must visit for any race fan. It's got to be on the bucket list if you get a chance to get out there. We still have the Nightcap coming up. 9th at Oaklawn, money earned allowance in this mile and a 16th race, competitive race to close out this Sunday card. We talked about going to break Absolute Love, who's taking a lot of money at 9-5 right now, trying to win 3 in a row. You mentioned Kelsey Haar. Going to see her on It's All in the Notes. Horse who actually ran pretty big in Remington last time out. I thought Megan's Clara stretching out, interesting. Descent the 6 with a look as well. Several others too. We'll talk about this field with the post parade coming up when we return from a short timeout. Race 9 at Oaklawn. When we come back here on America's Day at the Races.
Run Happy is the #1 second crop sire by stakes winners, graded stakes winners, and earnings. Run Happy is represented by Smile Happy, the Kentucky Derby individual Future Pool 1 favorite. A leading dirt sire, and now with an exciting Kentucky Derby hopeful. Call Bernie Sams now and book your mare to Eclipse Champion Run Happy right now. Run Happy standing in stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
Good boy. Hey, Red. Ready to go for a ride, buddy? I'm gonna miss you, Red.
Jockey Club Research Foundation provides the best equine research to treat the horses we love.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
No Parole is still there. Shoplifted all out on the outside. And Mischievous Alex. It is No Parole trying to hang in there for another furlong. It's No Parole getting away now. No Parole's in front by 4. Then Shoplifted, Mischievous Alex, Echo Town, and Mayru. It's going to be a front-running score for No Parole in the Grade 1 Woody Stevens.
Grade 1 winner, Louisiana bred for Tom Amos, owned by Maggie Moss. Greg Tramontine, No Parole, has been retired from racing. Retires 100% healthy and sound. Just hadn't shown that competitiveness in the afternoon. So going to call it a career. 6 wins from 13 career starts. Of course, that special moment that took place here at Belmont, or across town at Belmont, I should say.
A horse that just possessed so much natural speed, and that's what people look for in sires, speed, and they can pass that down. No Parole, very game kind of horse that certainly had that speed.
Co-owner Maggie Moss sending this out. No Parole has been a once-in-a-lifetime horse. He's trained super sound, healthy, went into the race great. When a horse doesn't want to do it anymore, we honor that, retire him 100% sound and happy. 2020 Louisiana Horse of the Year and a Grade 1 winner, provided connections with that tremendous moment. That horse was quick early.
Yeah, he was fast, and I like that when a horse decides, and it's just like any other athlete. They've just had enough, and they don't really want to put the effort into it. And owners respect that, like Maggie Moss, and say, okay, you know what? He was good to us. Let's be good to him. With his resume, you'd think they could find a stallion deal someplace for him. Maybe even in Louisiana might be a natural.
Yeah. This finale, take a look at the current odds. Again, a 2-turn mile and a 16th race coming up. And you have 2 fillies and mares next door to each other. The one Sent You Left, trying to win her 3rd in a row, as is Absolute Love, the 2, who's the 9-5 favorite, trying to win her 3rd in a row. And her 5th in her last 6, 11-time winner of over $260,000, the 2 Absolute Love.
Yeah, and people look at the condition of the race, say now winners of 2 in life, other than who's ever won 2 races other than maiden, claiming starter or state-bred allowance. Well, the majority of victories have come in claiming races, starter races, races that those wins wouldn't count against her for this condition.
So we'll get to our post parade in a moment. Intriguing horse, too, towards the outside, who had been out on the West Coast, flipping fast for Phil D'Amato. Tried this horse sprinting on turf last start, off a maiden win going long on dirt at Los Alamitos.
Yeah, you're going to think she's going to be quick, especially from the outside. Francisco Arrieta has to use her, trying not to be caught too wide on the first turn.
All right, we're going to see Sent You Left here in a moment to kick things off in this post parade. She has the ability, and here she is, to be forward as well.
Yeah, and is in very good form. Was claimed 2 starts back by Joe Sharp. Came right back for a win on a fast track and gets an inside draw. Always an advantage in 2-turn races.
9-5 favorite. Here she is, 6-year-old mare by Gradar, who's won 11 times in her career.
A winning habit, a mare that's tactical. She can be up close, make her own trip.
Ship It, I thought this one had big potential. She was only beat 3 3/4 lengths to Clairiere. Will Secret was in that race as well earlier in her career. Last year as a 2-year-old.
Yeah, and it was well beaten last time by Sent You Left. Going to have to find something to turn it around.
Here's Kelsey Haar. See if she can rebound on this long shot. It's all in the notes.
Yeah, Philly, that is a rightful long shot.
And talk about going to be forward. Sprint, speed, stretching out with the 5.
And this filly was in front 22-3 last time. That puts her in front here by far.
It's a 9-time winner at 9-2 here, Descent for Jerry Hollendorfer.
Could have the right style in a race loaded with speed.
This one would like to be in front. That might be tough in this field, though.
I think that spot will be occupied. She's got route speed, not sprint speed.
Pyramid Princess, she won her debut. It was sprinting at Remington Park, new barn now.
Well, you always like to see a horse that can win on debut, but now she's got to go further against tougher.
Here's Flipping Fast, who, again, mentioned Broker Maiden going a mile at Los Alamitos.
Yeah, should find herself in a stalking spot. Needs to kind of work out a trip into that first turn.
And Florent Giroux, 9-1 outside on Glamour Girl.
Well, Florent Giroux is just delivering, and he's been riding extremely well. Has to overcome an outside draw, though.
Let's go to Gary for more.
Yeah, guys, I mean, there's two absolute win machines in here, and Absolute Love with her 11 career victories and on a 3-race winning streak right now. Going to try and continue that on. But Decente for the Jerry Hollendorfer barn, assistant trainer Dan Ward, they've been on a little bit of a roll here today with a winner earlier on the card. All their horses are showing up, running good races, and this mare is coming off of a nice layoff, obviously working well right now. It looks great out on the racetrack, and you know, running against better horses than she has before her layoff. She's been off since April here at Oaklawn Park, where she had a winner in the spring back in April. But from what I'm seeing out there, I think that 5-1's a juicy price, but she's going to have to put it all together today to beat Absolute Love, guys.
Yeah, indeed. She's just in incredibly sharp form right now. Absolute Love, as we take a look at that long shot with Kelsey Haar getting a nice warm-up. It's all in the notes.
Yeah, I mean, this filly is going to have to find more in the tank, no doubt. Although, you know, I've said it in the past. She's run well at Remington. She's 2 for 2 at Oaklawn, so she's proven that her form will hold up. But she's going to have to improve. This is a pretty salty group here.
5 minutes away here from this Nightcap coming up. And the pace is going to be interesting in here. I mean, you just look at Megan's Clara. If she has any ability to go long, she's going to be in front, isn't she?
She's got to be in front. I can't imagine coming out of those sprints that she's not going to be any place but in front. I mean, go 2 starts back. Now, I know there's a long run-up for the start when they start timing the race. It's longer from the starting gate to where they actually start, the point they start timing the race at Churchill Downs in 6 furlong races. She still went 21-3, 44-4 with Joel Rosario. Not a rider that sends horses, so she has natural speed. She takes the rider there. She has run long in the past. Didn't work out well for her. She does seem to be a better horse now than she was then. And my contention is horses that maybe genuinely don't want to go long when the first time they go 2 turns. And I'll act as though this is her first time going 2 turns because she wasn't the same horse back when she tried it earlier. They have a better chance of doing it the first time because they run to the first turn, and it's such a quick run to the first turn, it almost takes them a little bit off guard, and they come off the bridle. Where when they have a longer straightaway, they kind of build into their momentum and they run faster and they don't settle as much. So it'll be interesting to see if Megan's Clara makes the lead, pops to the first turn, if her ears come up and she comes off the bridle a little bit. That's the only chance she has to get 2 turns.
Huge price, 28-1. If she's able to nurse that speed along, Ramon Vasquez is, we should say. Since you left, she'll get the rail today. She's won 2 in a row. This was the most recent effort when she won for 50,000 starter allowance at Churchill.
Yeah, she's in sharp form. It looked like she was ripe to be picked off here. Here comes Joel Rosario on Front Street after her and just could not get by. She bore down. Horses that like to win don't like to be passed. They're the herd leader. They're the boss. They basically look other horses in the eye and go, no. You're relegated to following me. I'm not going to allow you to lead me.
And she has just really gotten good of late, putting those back-to-back wins together. And even in that start, she took a big move forward from what she'd produced the start before. Was getting back on a fast track, too. That was her first try on a sloppy track where she'd won the race prior. But being forward has been a big part of her success. And it looks, again, like she's going to have some company in here. Do you think she has to be, from that post, too, even more aggressive?
I think you have to be more aggressive. Now, I don't think you're looking for the lead, but what you're looking to do is create separation. If the 5 Megan's Clara wants the lead, and it looks like she should want the lead, you come out running from the rail. Let your horse run to that first turn. Now it makes Megan's Clara or a horse of that ilk commit. Now they go on, and it creates separation. Instead of like coming out saying, well, I'll follow that horse, she folds over, the whole field accordions around you, and you're stuck in behind horses, and they slow the pace down. You come out running for 100 yards or so, those horses clear off, create separation, and now you have options. You can flip out. You can go to lay second in the clear, third in the clear. You're not bunched up or stuck in that inside position, jammed up behind horses.
And we talked on the program yesterday, for those who saw it, about the different finish lines at this racetrack. They have that shorter stretch. This will be the longer stretch where they finish going a mile and a 16th.
Yeah, and it gives you more time to work out a trip from there, but I think the key is the first turn. Starts are so important no matter what the distance of the race because it sets up the position of the entire race. If you don't brake sharply, horses fold over, that wave that kind of folds over in front of you, and they slow down. It's not like driving a car where I get off the accelerator and the car slows down. If I need to, I tap on the brakes, the car slows down. It's a 1,000-pound animal. Once you've kind of set them up to go forward and now you've got to reach up and grab them, you're a 115-pound rider trying to slow down a 1,000-pound animal. They're not push button. They don't stop and start like cars.
You've told them, you've kind of switched them on.
Right.
And told them this is what we want to do.
And that's why it's so important for a rider to have familiarity with a horse, because some horses you can turn on and off. Some horses, once you ignite them, you turn them on. You can't turn them off. Now they're a runaway freight train. So you've got to know the horse's personality. You got to know their idiosyncrasies. What horses can make multiple runs? Only very good horses can do that. What horses can stop and start? Some horses, once you get them stopped, they can't gain the momentum again. So it's very important to know all these habits, all those idiosyncrasies, and your best riders not only know the habit of their horse, they know the habit of every other horse in the race, almost every horse on the grounds. They know the habit of every rider, where their tendencies are, who tends to drift, who tends to guard the rail. You know, everybody has habits, and a lot of times they're not even aware of it. If you're on top of your game, you know their habits before they do.
Yeah, that was fascinating to me when you pointed that out, that you said so many times in a race you would know or kind of anticipate riders in front of you, and you knew their tendencies and what they were going to do, and you'd base where you're going to make that move off of that.
Well, you know, for years, a tremendous rider, Chris Antley, would be in front. And you knew if you made the first run at him on the outside, he was going to go to a left-handed crop and pack you out. So the key was let someone else make the first run the interference. He'd pack them out. Now you cut the corner and get through. So you didn't want to be the guy to make the first run because you were going to be the guy to get carried out. You had to know, again, their tendencies, what they were going to plan on doing. So many races are won by heads, necks, noses, half-lane length. You've got to anticipate, know their habits, take advantage of opportunities that present themselves, but also don't compromise your trip.
Did you realize at some point in your riding career, too, that you had to tell that riders were picking up on?
Oh, yeah. I think I had a tendency to go left-handed to my left-handed crop too soon and lose myself the last eighth of a mile in a drive where I would almost override the wires in front of me and forget about time and space to the point where I would drift. I would drift left, drift right. I would get loose the last eighth of a mile so riders would know, well, if I sit in the weeds long enough, Mig will probably drift once it comes crunch time because I'm just all out, I'm all in. And that takes experience, learning to almost calm yourself down, slow things down, see it better. Had this talk with Irad Ortiz because I think that's one of the things that happens to him. He gets lost in the drive of a race, the pursuit of victory. Almost approach it like it's a morning workout. You slow it down. In the morning, you have an agenda. I want to go a particular time. I want to go the first furlong in 13 seconds, the second furlong in 12 and 3/5 seconds, and so on and so forth. So it's all calculated. You're thinking. It slows down. I've told him in the past, approach it like you approach morning workouts. Slow it down.
Tough to do in the afternoon when the money's on the line.
Oh, it is. And like I said, something I had to work on, in my entire career pretty much.
2-1 favorite, Absolute Love from post 2, trying to make it 3 straight victories, and in the 12th of her career, a 6-year-old mare that is in the form of her life. We'll see if she can keep it going here. She's facing another filly on a win streak to her inside in Since You Left from that rail position with Luis Contreras. It's the Nightcap here from Oaklawn. Vic Stauffer has the call.
Flipping fast. Megan's Clara. Last to load, Glamour Girl. They're at the post. They're off. Excellent start. Since You Left, and It's All in the Notes, Megan's Clara, and Lil King's Princess. These four right across the track. Then it's another lineup just in behind them of Absolute Love and Ship It. Absolute Love had to check off heels just very briefly. Flipping Fast is next, then Descente and Pyramid Princess, and the early trailer is Glamour Girl. To the backstretch they run, and It's All in the Notes and Megan's Clara are 1-2. Megan is outside, It's All in the Notes at the rail. Then it's a length and a half further back to Pyramid Princess, between horses Ship It and Since You Left at the rail. Another 3 lengths further back to Absolute Love and Flipping Fast. Descente has 9 lengths to make up. She's a length in front of Pyramid Princess. It's the other princess who's up after the leaders. That's Lil King's Princess. And the trailer is Glamour Girl. A half-mile left to run in the finale. Megan's Clara is the leader from It's All in the Notes at the rail, and a 3-wide Lil King's Princess. These 3 across the track. Since You Left is just in behind them. 4th and 2 from the front. Ship It has 2.5 lengths to make up. Descente catches the eye. She moves through from the inside. Still 6 from the front, but could be heard from late. Top of the stretch, and it is still It's in the Notes. Megan's Clara and a 3-wide Lil King's Princess. Ship It gonna run up 4 wide. Since You Left is just in behind them. She swings out now, and here's Since You Left to come after. It's All in the Notes. It's All in the Notes. Now a 2-length lead. Descente is continuing to close in the center, and Glamour Girl is flying from the back of the pack. Here comes Glamour Girl on a roll. It's All in the Notes. Ship It. Glamour Girl to the outside. It's All in the Notes. Ship It. It's All in the Notes. It's All in the Notes held off. Ship It and Glamour Girl. Megan's Clara finished 4th.
Kelsey Haar DQ'd earlier in a questionable call. Did she hang on here on this big long shot?
She hung on, and I'm happy for her. And she responded to a negative situation the right way with a positive. Put this filly on the lead, held her together, got her home, and put that DQ behind her.
It's All in the Notes at a big price to close things out. Good for Kelsey Haar. That was a tremendous ride, too, when she got DQ'd earlier on the card.
That was a shame.
Back Friday on FS2. We'll see you at 2:30 Eastern time next week. It's my final show of the year. Happy holidays, everybody. It's been a pleasure.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you as well. Core Conviction, impressive for Chad Brown. Looking really good against a tough group. Perfect Happiness. That second-itis, that's a thing of the past. Winning for Brad Cox and Florent Giroux in the feature. NASCAR Race Hub is next on FS1.